Hey everybody, before we get started, I just want to remind you this episode is brought to you by our patrons like Ahigo Comics, Qua, and Drago66. If you like what we do and want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. You get access to episodes early and lots of other goodies, and it would really help us out. Thanks for your support, everybody.
Thank you.
Alright, so, we're in What's Up. We have once again, literally, I was like, oh, are we about to start a conversation? Hold on, let me turn the mics on.
Well, the conversation is we're fucked. Well, not fucked, but
yeah,
we're on our way to fucked.
Yeah, we had a little bit of bad news. So YouTube finally got back to us. They denied our application for monetization. They did not approve us.
Yes.
Now, I should say that that's not a permanent thing. They will let us reapply in 30 days. It's unfortunately 30 days from when they said no, so that's a while, but still. It's not indefinite. And their primary concern was what they called duplication. Basically, the concern is that we do not upload enough content that we ourselves own. And unfortunately, they aren't very specific about it. And like I said, Lucky, earlier, if this persists the next time we apply, I'm going to have to, figure out how to get a hold of YouTube to, ask them, hey, can you give specifics? Because while obviously we think all our videos are fair use, you guys have concerns. You need to we would like it if you would let us know specifically what you're concerned about so that we can change it, because I suggested, maybe we're going to probably change our focus up a little bit in the next coming weeks until that period and see what works and what doesn't. For instance, even though Let's Plays are usually fair use and we don't have a lot of complaints about them, you never know, so I'm thinking we might relax on the Let's Play front after I finish the current run of VC4. Just still going strong, but I don't want to stop a series halfway. But also, we might try that. Also, they do and this is true. This is a true fact. But even if they don't copyright claim it, that technically you're not supposed to use music or visuals you don't own that are not properly credited. So we do use a lot of music that's copyrighted to other people in Let's Talk FGO. I know people really like the music. Lucky likes the music. Hell, I like the music. I don't want to sound like, the music's bad. I never liked it. No, I like it. It's just, obviously, if it hurts the viability of our channel overall, then we have to do something different. We might just have to find, royalty-free music, because YouTube does have a big library of that. We might have to find, tools we can use to substitute. We might have to get clarification from them that it's okay. Obviously, like we said, we think it's fair use, but it might not be, so we might have to, back off a little bit. We also might transition into more original-type content a little bit, focus on What's Up. I don't want to say focus on Lucky Rants, but definitely get those out there now. We haven't done that yet, but I feel like we had a bit of a busy week, so that's why we didn't really push on that.
Yeah.
Also, it's interesting. So I opened up the books text channel on our Discord because people talked about it and I asked about it. So I finally opened that up, and also it kind of came up. I asked people if they would want to see me listen to me maybe read some H.P. Lovecraft stories. Those are all in public domain, so that could be a thing we do for a little bit of a spooky theme for the next month or so. Which is a shame I didn't think of it earlier, but that could be a thing because I've got a big, complete Cthulhu Mythos collection with all of HPL's stories in it, so I can, try some readings of that, maybe do some other stuff. We can focus more on Wanted and other stuff where, we're clearly making an effort to make something more original. And like I said, if it persists, we'll have to try and get a hold of YouTube and be like, hey, can you point out what your specific concerns are so we can change it?
Yeah, I'm actually doing a little bit of research on it right now. So let's see here. This is if your video is disabled for monetization because of duplication. Here are, because your content is identical with some other content on YouTube. So it's not so much of that we're uploading. It's apparently something that have uploaded matches something else on YouTube. So it could be something that is public there's a list here: public domain footage, royalty-free music, videos other people made, re-uploads, compilation, anything got claimed by Content ID, reading outs of stories posted on other websites, recordings of line concerts, DVDs, TV shows, and others copyright infringing TVs, unedited, uncommentated gameplay videos. That's the list that I've seen right here.
Yeah, so we don't have a lot of that. I mean, the concern, like,
well, like, see, here's the thing. Like, specifically with last week, do you know what this might be because?
What's up?
Because I pulled the Noble Phantasm videos directly from Type Moon's channel on YouTube.
Yeah, that was the one thing I was thinking of. Also, while I do think we fair use it, the music, don't you pull the music from basically the YouTube videos too?
No.
Oh, you just use that as a guide then?
I have a download of it. That's
okay.
That's on my computer.
Okay.
Like the Arash, the video for the audio for the Arash Noble Phantasm that was used in this week's Let's Talk FGO, that was from a YouTube video. I credited the source in the notes. Like, I did that when I did the show notes.
That said, it explicitly says, I'm looking at, like, the denial right now. It's like, it's not enough to credit the content owner and state no content infringement is intended.
Yeah.
And here, I will actually, like, I'll clip out so Lucky doesn't have to navigate the bowels of our channel. Here's what we got. That's the official alert. Also, I'm trying to think. In the past, did we've posted some gameplay footage without commentary in the past, but that's like a long time ago. I don't know if that counts.
We actually might have to go through and clean up our channel.
I really hope we don't. Not that some of our early videos would be lost, but yeah, I don't know. Well, like I said, we'll work on it, and I will. If it persists, I will talk to YouTube. Yeah, I don't. Let's see. I'm trying to think. We like displaying Noble Phantasm videos, but I'm wondering what the out is there besides just for a moment filling the screen completely. Like, do we make sure our commentary is over it? Do we do like a pip thing where you can still see some other stuff going on?
Well, that's the thing with the Noble Phantasm. I pulled an art image from Pixiv, saved that to my computer, and threw that up on there. And then again, put credited the person in the thing. So I don't know if there's people with like videos of that same image because let's be real, it's a real badass image. But like, unless someone else. So it's like, how does YouTube determine it's like what is the duplicate and what is not?
Yeah, I don't know. That's like I said, I'd love to get some feedback from them what they think is the concern.
Yeah.
Though since you specifically said that about duplication, so maybe we don't. If we're doing our proper Let's Plays, we probably don't have to back off on that because that's actually like that's video games with commentary.
Yeah, no, like, yeah, you specifically have to have commentary. Like, you can't.
We might have some old videos where, in our early days, where there wasn't a lot of commentary. We can probably pull those. Nobody watched them anyway. If we have to.
I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Like I said, we're going to work on it.
It's a butt.
It is a butt. And so this is the other dovetail I want to do. You heard it at the front of the show. This is also why it's very important to consider supporting us on Patreon. Like, I don't like to sound like a shill unless I'm doing it for a joke. This is not me doing a joke, but genuinely, we can't keep doing this and we can't grow doing it without monetary support. That's just the way the world works. Lecky and I don't want to live big. I'm pretty sure we both basically live and work on this channel out of one room right now. Right? The both of us. Not the same room, so technically 2 rooms, but you know what I mean. And honestly, like, that's not a huge problem for me or anything. That's just, like, I'm comfortable with kind of the way I'm living. We need living expenses, we need business expenses to keep going on this, and if we have to do other stuff to do it, like he was talking about, you know, he's got to go work, and that he works nights and stuff, and it distracts, that's why we need to be able to do this maybe more closer to full-time, right? So that we don't have to get distracted by other stuff, and you can keep getting higher level content when we can do it, and kind of break out with stuff. And so consider supporting us on Patreon. It doesn't have to be a lot, you know. you can get our lowest level for $1 a month. That gets you access to audio downloads of our big shows, and special access to a community on our Discord and stuff. So you can probably talk with us more directly. I talked about this, like I said, I didn't want to turn it into a money grub thing, but if for instance it was the use of certain audio in Let's Talk FGOs or stuff, I would be well, if we can't upload to YouTube, maybe we can upload directly to Patreon and do either early access or access only to certain level patrons. Not for a lot though. That would be maybe a new $1 or maybe a slight middle tier reward. Figure that stuff out. It's just like I said, we want to keep going. We want to keep doing stuff. We want to do more stuff. We want to do bigger stuff. We don't, who wouldn't like to live big, but we don't need to live big in this business.
We're fucking millennials.
I just want to be able to pay the bills and, it'd be nice to buy a video game or something every month. Maybe a couple video games. That's how I, lived my teenage and college years. I don't have this big, huge, extravagant lifestyle expectancy. I just want to be able to do work I enjoy doing and concentrate on it and also be able to support myself. That's a dream, right? So, consider supporting us on Patreon. Also, just get in our videos. Share it with your friends. Don't forget to sub. Don't forget to view everything. Let the channel grow. YouTube says they don't care how big your channel or how engaged your audience is officially, but I think I'm a little cynical. But I think we all know that YouTube cuts some slack for big content creators, right? If they feel like there's good ad rev money to be made, they've played a little faster and looser with big creators. So I'm not necessarily implying listen, if we get huge, they'll have to monetize us. But I feel like if we were a bit bigger, that might help because that's a thing. But like I said, we will continue to work on this project. We will continue to do this as long as we can because Omega really doesn't want to get a job stocking shelves in the grocery store at midnight, which I'm pretty sure is what Lucky does, basically. But
sorry, I am actually super focused on reading up on this.
No, it's good. That's good. You're doing it's probably mostly your work that would unfortunately have to change because you're the one doing a lot of the detailed adding music effects and adding certain visual cues and video inserts. You're the guy on our most detailed editing who would have to figure out we can't, what we can and cannot do in that respect. Because I really, now that we've hit a certain quality level, everybody stopped complaining about audio. People really are into some of the visuals. That said, some people have also said, they mostly listen, so they're not as big on the visual gags.
Yeah, actually, one of our comments in the last Let's Talk FGO actually gave me an idea. I'm gonna say right now, this week's Let's Talk FGO, I'm not doing any editing for it. It's probably just gonna at the old style, just because I need a fucking break from it. My life is fucking hectic right now.
Well, on the one hand, I say that's a shame because we're gonna do lots of talk about the new event and stuff. I'm dreaming, I'd love for editor Lucky to be able to, much like your crazy Umu episode, to sneak in some stealthy bananas. But at the same time, listen, you're my business partner in this. You get basically a 50-50 share of the Patreon money and all that. You're in this as much as I am. If you're fuck man, I can't do it, I'm okay, I completely understand. I will, I'll make a fucking dumb video.
Well, I can do the edit, I don't know. I'll see how I feel about it tomorrow. It's right now, not feeling it. Who knows?
No,
maybe
that's
when I get time, maybe when I get time with recording, I'm man, I got a really good joke I have to fucking get out.
No, that's creativity. There's a lot of stuff. There was a hashtag I think last week that was why I write, and I was I write because there are fucking stories inside me and they have to get out. That's to me, that's what creativity is like. There is there's a thing inside, and I want to make it outside. And that's how some of our videos are. And yeah, it's just...
We should tell him. Oh, sorry.
No. Go ahead.
No, keep going.
Okay, I was just gonna say, like, that's just kind of the general view on our creativity. We get ideas, we want to do stuff, we want to get stuff out there, and we, you know, like I said, we would hope to be paid for it because that's how our world works.
Oh God.
Though, you know, talking about not feeling it, not having enough time, like to transition away slightly, like it's funny, given how much we talked about anime last week, I feel like we're not gonna this week because I haven't gotten to shit.
Really?
Nope. I didn't watch any. I didn't start Zombieland Saga, even though I got that queued. I did not watch the new Slime or the new Goblin Slayer. I'm just like, nah, I've been busy. I haven't had time.
Damn.
Part of that is VC4 because I record that every couple of days. I don't know if you've paid attention to some of the like the video list, Lucky, when you were like in there, because you're a busy man, obviously, most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
But
well,
yeah, let me read off to you some of the upcoming VC4 Let's Play lengths. So we got an hour 40. There's a 40-minute in there. That's not too bad. There's an hour and 1 minute. There's an hour and 22 minutes. And then there's an hour and 30 minutes. So, apart from that one kind of shortish one in 40, we're talking over an hour of work every episode.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no, like, these are big, beefy videos.
How far did you get?
I am just at chapter 9. Keep in mind, I'm, like, interspersing squad stories and stuff in here, too. The next one I'm going to record is going to be a squad story episode, because I unlocked 2, so that's an easy, like, oh, I'll do 2. But some of them are, like episode 17, which is the hour 40 one. That is entirely just chapter 8, because there are 2 maps in there. One of them is a cakewalk, and the other one is kind of bullshit. It's the first Blizzard map. Well, I can tell Lucky what the title of the episode is, and he'll know. It's called Meet the Twins.
Is this the first time fighting the twins or the second time?
The first time.
Oh my god.
And the very first time, because I can tell you now, if you want to see me fail a map, like legit, not just rage quit, but legit lose a map, I think that's the first time it happened to VC4. The first time I accidentally triggered them in a blizzard, and I don't know how their crossbows do this, but one of them just ran up behind the Hoffen and put a bolt in the radiator, and it was donezo.
Okay.
Like, I'm not shocked by Valkyria Chronicles doing that, but I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this differently.
I don't know. You seemed like I'm gonna steal the spotlight here, but you seemed real spicy about Klaus. Klaus.
Oh, I am super spicy about him. Like, that's not because he beats me most of the time. It's just because, like, we've talked about this before. Like, his in-game actions are such bullshit. Like, at least when you first run into him, the twins' AI is like weird, but
they're
just
dodge
still
everything.
On foot. And I'll spoil it a little bit. I solved the solution with lots and lots of mortars and flamethrowers. Yeah. People on foot have a hard time ducking explosions.
They still do it though.
They still do it sometimes, but like you get improved payload mortar rounds on them. It sucks for them. And I've got like I think a couple of the extra magazine attachments in the Hoffen, so like I got CP for days. I can dump 3 mortar rounds into somebody a turn.
And see, this is why I can't understand like why you get so mad at the enemies having special little gimmicks when you have so much in your damn tool belt.
I mean, mostly it's mostly when the game does things that are like outside the norm. They do like, to me, I think a lot of them do weird gimmicks that I don't understand why the game decided to make it a gimmick. The twins actually double move. They spend multiple CP to get a couple of moves out. And I'm like, oh. I mean, what they do with their AP, I thought was like, okay, I'm not sure what the AI is trying to do here, because they confused me a little bit. And you'll see that when we get to the video in a like later this week. But I still can understand, like, okay, so now the game's taking it seriously. Like, all right, they've moved to these guys will use multiple action points, and that makes sense. This is also the map where they upgrade to elite enemies, so like you'll run into scout elites, you'll run into like shock trooper elites who have their own underbarrel flamethrowers and stuff. I'm like, okay, this I follow. I've been here for a while because I overleveled a little bit probably, or at least I spent my EXP just playing the game the way I want to. But I understand this. Like, a lot of Klaus's stuff is just like, why are you doing this to me? Like, okay, you have an effect that does basically interception fire on your turn. This is the Gatling turn on the front. I'm like, that's really frustrating and weird, and I don't think anybody else does that. And also, like, oh, I can just make my infantry charge through fire. I'm like, okay, I wish you wouldn't. That's kind of dog shit, but okay. And then basically,
here's the thing, like when it comes to like orders and stuff, like I don't think like you could really get pissed at them for having a special gimmick of their own on a map that already has gimmicks. Because yeah, it's kind of shocking when he fucking does it the first time. But it's not.
Mostly, I think it's just the way they used it was. It was one of my like real complaints about I think Valkyria Chronicles in general is that the game is not optimized to be done well the first time. It's not even like just normal unexpected stuff happens to. It's like every map we have to have like a twist or a trick or a gimmick that prevents you from like executing it in a logical fashion the first time, and not even like. Because I'll set up contingency plans because I'm like, okay, the game's gonna like do something. Like I know they're gonna do tricks, but it almost always feels like the first time the game befuddles you and is like, aha, you thought you knew the trick, but we've done something completely new and out of left field, so you could never possibly know the trick. Fuck you. Like,
yeah, because otherwise the game becomes the same broke thing over and over again.
Well, like I said, this is why I actually like the twins. Like I said, because the AI's actual actions confused me a little just because it didn't seem like they were doing smart things some of the time. Like they threw grenades at the Hafen one turn for some reason, which I don't understand. It like did no damage. It didn't seem to do any AP damage or anything. It's just they did that for some reason. It was weird. Maybe they can't attack with anti-armor crossbow bolts more than once a turn and they already used them. I don't know. But like, while I didn't follow their logic, the way their units behaved was pretty sound. It was like, okay, we're going to double move. We will focus fire on the Hafen. We will focus fire on your units that have command pips. Like, we'll shoot them down. We'll position ourselves so you can't, like, fire back at us and stuff like that. They acted mostly intelligently, and running into them was not it wasn't a sure kill for me, but the first time I did, they did totally, like, catch me unawares in a bad situation and beat me. As opposed to a lot of my encounters with Klaus they didn't come close to beating me. Like, I didn't come close to losing the map. It's just, he, like, rampages around the map doing bullshit stuff to just distract and annoy me. Like, it's not even like the game was necessarily more challenging, just that it was more frustrating. And I don't know if that's just like the way he worked or what. Like, we'll see with more, because that's another thing is the pacing is a little weird in VC4. We've only I talked about this on our Discord. We're in like chapter 9. We've only just now met our like full cast of quirky mini boss characters. And I'm like, that seems a little late considering you've been making me do like 2 or 3 maps a chapter for like 8 chapters. So, like... Well,
honestly, like, I'll give that a pass, because there is some shit going on behind closed doors that you are slowly finding out about.
Oh, yeah, no, like, it's interesting that it's kind of interesting that as we press closer, it's like, the threat kind of grows more serious, or at least the counter threat. So, it does kind of make sense when introduced, but, like...
Oh, no, you are the threat. Trust me on this one.
Well, yeah, there's that. Obviously, like, that's what I said, like, the counter threat. Because we are technically trying to capture their capital, and we're fighting lots of defensive war, or they're fighting a lot of defensive war.
I actually had to stop playing for a bit, because, oh god, Where did you say you were again? You cut off, so I actually didn't hear.
Chapter 9. The chapter is titled The Winter Witch.
Okay, I know where you are now. Oh, you're about to get into another Klaus fight, and you're gonna have more bullshit. I'm gonna tell you this now. I don't know how often he'll do it, but Klaus has a command that is basically, it's called Recall, and it basically just summons back all the soldiers you just killed that round.
That's nasty.
It is nasty.
I'm trying to think, like, wow,
So,
that's, because we've talked about this before, like, where I think the break for me between, like, an interesting challenge and just bullshitting me, that sounds like it's kind of bullshitting me, like, I could understand, like, because I can't do that, right? Like, but I could understand, like, doing a medic call on a downed unit, or being able to, like, touch units and recover them. If the enemy did that, I could totally understand it. Also, does the enemy expend CP when they call for reinforcements from camps?
Yeah.
Okay. I sometimes can't remember. But
oh yeah, but you say this, but like you spend four CP, everyone gets evade up, a defense up, and you become nigh unkillable.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's fair. In VC1 though, sometimes your enemy commanders would just use those generic orders. Like, they had a couple of unique ones, but also there would be like everybody attack up, everybody defense up, like not all the time, but like every couple of rounds. So that, I don't know. When I played that game, that felt more balanced.
Yeah,
like,
I can understand that.
We were both kind of using the same moves back and forth, and it was who could execute the moves. This is just like, they have a toolkit that I don't have, and they only seem to use it to try and frustrate me, mainly.
Well, I'm pretty sure you're very frustrating to them.
I mean, I guess, sometimes.
I see, that's the thing. It's like, I understand where you're coming from, because, like, I get frustrated to the game, not because of that, just because, like, yeah, they threw me off what I do, and I have to completely rethink my strategy, usually by restarting the fucking map. By the way, Omega, when you fought Minerva, did you see her fucking adjutant on the fucking roof?
Yeah, I caught sight of it with, like, a scout or something, and I was like, oh shit, there's somebody on that, like, she appeared in the attack map, and I'm like, son of a bitch, there's somebody on that roof.
Yeah, I know, it's like things like that.
I didn't get to hurt her the first turn, but I was aware of her right away. I, like, caught sight of her with somebody, I'm like, shit, there's somebody on that roof, they're gonna fucking shoot me.
Yeah, I know, it's like literally one of those things of, like, there's shit surprising. Like, you haven't got to this map, but, like, because you don't let your guys go down a lot, do you?
No, I don't let anybody die.
Well, not die, just go down, where they have to get recovered.
Sometimes that happens. I try to avoid that, but sometimes it happens.
Okay, so, like, here's, like, I yelled this in the fucking mod chat when this happened to me, because it fucking shocked the fuck out of me. You know how you have, what's her name, Karen?
Yeah, I think so. I think she's the medic.
Yeah, Karen. You know she has that animation where you get up to someone's, and she runs towards them?
Yeah.
On a certain map, that happens, she does the running animation, and she gets fucking shot at. And I was all like, "Oh my god!"
Wow,
like, and they literally
that's a harsh twist. Like, there's already, like, we've talked about this in the snow maps before you get winter gear. It's like, hey, you have less turns to recover these people when they fall down before they die. Like, that's a harsh twist already. But literally, like, oh, your medic's in trouble. All right.
Yeah. Well,
maybe you could tell me. Actually, yeah, I was gonna say maybe you can tell me out of chat what map that is, so I can, like, know before. But I'm an asshole. I save before every map. Sometimes I think I've accidentally saved a couple times in a row on every map. So, well,
it's not too hard to twist, because basically what it does, it doesn't kill her. It's just like, you can't evacuate because basically a sniper shooting at, so you just have to find the sniper who has something named the medic killer. I'm like, oh, it's you. Oh, die.
Okay.
So it's a really easy fix, but
maybe I'll just keep an eye out for that guy. That also, like hidden units, I think that's an okay twist, especially when the game gives you the ship, so you can, the one command you can always access is radar.
You don't have access to the ship that map.
Interesting. So that's a good back and forth, like, taking away your capabilities, but I do think that, like, oh, there's some guys hiding in a corner, like, that's a good use of like, surprises, because that's blind corners on the terrain. You can see on the terrain map, hey, I can't see into this region. Maybe there's something there. And then if you have access to the Centurion, sometimes you can do ship commands to radar.
Yeah. What other interesting twist? The map, I'm
like I said, mostly
like,
there's just to me it's there is a fine line, I think, in game design between like something that's like an interesting challenge to overcome, and then there's just like, oh, there's no way you could possibly plan for or overcome this other than just redoing it again. Like
see,
that.
like
to me, the trial and error aspect kind of irks me.
I think that all the other ones are like, especially with Klaus, are things that you can deal with, except for one. The first time you meet him, and he just rolls up with his tank. He goes before you with his interception Gatling gun and just mows down those two people, whoever you have, and then it's like, that's fucking bullshit.
And then he parks there, so you're like,
bullshit.
How the fuck can I send in to be out past this fence to save them, right? Like,
yeah,
it's
that is bullshit. That is
also, he fucking
bullshit, and that's horrible game design. The rest of the shit, I'm willing to give a pass out of the sense of,
yeah, mostly, well, like I said, mostly my actually, is that episode public? Flames of War was the last one we posted. That's the second time. It's called Men Angry at War Part 2. That's the second time we encounter him. Most of my bitching in that map is just, well, first of all, obviously I'm like, okay, I know going in, they're going to shenanigans me. I'm going to take the command post, and then it's going to be like, okay, then you have to do blah, blah, blah. Right? Because it is explicitly a two-step objective. So I'm like, okay, I know some shit's coming. Mostly my complaint was just that because he's a tank and can't capture command posts, Klaus himself is meaningless to succeeding on the map. He just exists to fuck your shit up and kill your units so that his infantrymen can take it. But at the same time, the infantrymen don't actually take it because the game does not usually drop 2 CP to move them. So I pulled some crazy clutch plays with Kai and her shiny new interception fire sniping and just like dropping dudes running for command posts left and right. Because they're just standing out in the open. It's like, I thought this was going to be like more of a challenge to me winning the map. It wasn't. It just dragged the map out, and it like existed to frustrate me and basically make me feel annoyed. He's part of the way it's bullshit. And like I said, just the completely unexpected, like, oh, I'm going to lead my men through fire, and he goes out of his way to like blow up flaming barriers you didn't. Yep. Though that did stall him once. He completely whiffed a shot once, so he wasted an action turn. I'm like, okay, the computer goofed here. The mortar like clipped a piece of terrain or something and didn't blow up right, so he was wasted an action. Had to go again to blow it up. It was kind of hilarious. But like like you can see me going, okay, so here's my setup turn. He's right there. I'm gonna position my anti-tank mortar there to like try and slow him down and stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, no, he's completely out of your range. He's just gonna shortcut through the fucking fire. He's gonna take his units through the fire, and any plan you could have had is completely disrupted. And then it's just like, oh, but you don't actually beat me. You just run through my place. You blow up all my fucking sandbags, and hurt Raz a little bit. And then I think he didn't even cross. Oh no, he did a U-turn because there's 2 fire barriers in that zone. So he basically goes through the fire, fucks around in a command post, and it's meaningless. It doesn't actually hurt me. I think he like downed one person who I medevaced immediately. Then he cuts down through another thing, and by that point, my grenadier and my other interception setup is completely moved on because he keeps spawning other units in random locations you got to take care of. Like, it's just like he went out of his way to be the most confusing and annoying, but not actually threaten my victory. I would prefer if the game was like, no, fuck you, you lose. Like, oh god. There are a couple of, like, there was a squad story where I failed to snip a scout in the right place and I didn't set up my interception fire right, and he just ran back and he took the command post. I'm like, oh, okay, so that guy literally exists to make you lose if you don't plan properly and take care of him. All right, I will take that into account next time. I would prefer if the trial and error was like outright just you lose sometimes, rather than kind of twisting the knife and making you deal with it longer. I don't know. I just question the game design at points.
I don't know, the way you're selling it, it's like literally the fucking same thing the fucking Hoffen does. Like, honestly, like the Hoffen can't take points or anything. It is never like instrumental to your key to victory, but you use it to great effect to really fuck with the enemy. It's like
yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm not necessarily using the Hoffen that way. Like, mostly I'm using the Hoffen as anti-armor.
Do you know how I like to use the Hoffen? I used to drive it up.
You do like you do in VC1, and you always use mortars.
No, I use it to hit fucking sandbags. And then I smack the fucking enemies with it, and then guess what? Now you're standing up. Oh, look, Kai has a bullet.
I mean, I do that sometimes if I've got everybody approaching a fortified location. But yeah, no. Normally, I use the Hafen for to destroy fortified positions, like destroy Gatling turrets, destroy tanks and stuff. That like especially since I've invested heavily in like the improved AP and like the big gun and stuff. Like I use the tank to counter armor, and like for infantry, I have infantrymen go because I got my fucking rifle grenades finally. Fuck you, sandbags. Woo. So yeah, maybe this is just maybe the reason why you're more okay with this is because you're playing the game a little bit differently than I am.
In the end, I think that's basically the big thing. It's like we have different play styles.
So what you find frustrating is different than what I find frustrating, I guess, because it's like, oh, they're just doing what I do. Whereas I'm like, these guys are not doing what I would do. They're just doing stuff to me that seems rando.
Yeah, because like that's one of my things. Because like you can literally like, do you know how I once took a base? I took my fucking tank and I kept knocking the guy until I pushed him out of the base radius.
No, I've never done that specifically. Like, occasionally I've run some people over if they're in my way, but mostly it's just like, I'll drive through some sandbags. Oh, here's a big target. Like, you know, like, occasionally if I can make them stand up, I'll like give them a machine gun pass. Oh, the other thing I do with the Hafen is, I mean, like, technically, this is kind of what he does with his interception fire. I will park it at a choke point and be like, okay, if any infantry asshole tries to come this direction, he's getting fucking shredded. But at the same time, I still can't shoot on my turn that way. But that's just the one really annoying thing with the Vulcan. And it's got that radiator on the top, so you have to use anti-armor mortars. But then, like I said, the game went out of its way to be like it knew exactly where my current anti-armor mortar position was, and it was like, fuck you, I'm going elsewhere. If I'd had my anti-armor mortar in a completely different position, there's no reason for them to be in, then yeah, sure, it would have worked.
Yeah.
That said, like another map gimmick that I thought was okay was like the armored train.
Yeah.
Because those are like those look scarier, but when you actually start taking shots, you're like, oh, I'll just get the radiator on the top. And there's one you basically have to kill.
Well, no, I actually got through it without killing a single one.
Oh, really? You just pushed up? Okay. Because there's that one in the middle you can't train switch, so it just keeps dumping reinforcements every turn.
Oh no, like I think I got a D on that map. It's like one of the few maps I don't have an A on. Like I get because like I said, I'm pretty good at moving quickly when I need to be because I like to use Minerva, who has the lovely skill double movement.
Oh, she gets double movement. Sometimes. Fuck yeah, that's the best about scouts.
Yeah.
Also, she has power scout, so sometimes she charges up when she finds units. And
she like heals. She can heal when she takes someone out. She gets double move. She is fucking amazing. I love her. Mm-hmm. Best girl. Chimera and Kai are very close though. Fuck Riley.
I mean, mostly I'm just annoyed at Riley because I feel like every fucking time her trial and error potential procs, and I have her already using the anti-infantry mortar because that's like 80% of what I do with my mortars is blow up armymans. And so that's already got a huge, like, trial and error radius anyway. So I'm like, God, no. Every time.
What I do is I set up my males with anti-armor and my females with anti-personnel. That's how I remember.
That's solid. Maybe I should switch to that.
Yeah. So speaking of, like, Chimera and Klaus, like, when you get later in the game, they start interacting more. And this is something that I really do appreciate in these kind of games is when they show the enemy side and you see like kind of the other sides to the story because
like that's kind of where I said I was a little thinking they kind of slowballed the pace because I feel like you encounter the VC1 version of the tank guy really early. It's like your third or fourth map in the story. I think
they want you to build a sort of rivalry, like they want you to build some sort of emotion to him, so like that can be built upon later in the game.
Yeah, it's just like that said though. I personally I don't like Klaus's. Maybe I don't know if it's the translation. I don't know if it was in the original Japanese, but like Klaus's personality type also annoys me. Like I said, like he's annoying and creepy. Like to me, especially because I played VC1, I think this year I got them remastered and replayed it. So, like, to me, VC1's enemies are pretty fresh in my mind. I'm like, to me, Klaus is really just a cheap attempt to cash in on that first guy, who was pretty good. He was pretty well written as like, hey,
I'm trying to remember.
My country was conquered by the Imperials. Prince Maximilian says he can give my country back some of its liberty if I help him, so I am here as a tank commander. I am from, like, an honorable culture. I'm gonna defeat you for my people. He's like the classic, he's on the enemy side, but he's not an evil guy kind of person.
God, that's right. Roddy Jaeger.
Yeah.
Motherfucker had the skull, has a giant
and he's
sword.
great. He's a great antagonist. You fight him a couple times. He has honest motivation, and, like, you get the feeling for him. Klaus is kind of weird. He's like, yes, my enemies are my soulmates. I definitely want to fight that tank. I never leave a lady waiting. Blah blah blah. Look at my sideburns, and I'm like, you're just kind of weird. Like, to me, he's just kind of an oddball, and the writing doesn't land as much for me. I'm hoping that he can interact with more characters, and he's not the weirdest person in the room. That'll even out a little.
No, literally, that's what fucking happens. Like,
so literally, he becomes the least weird guy.
Yeah,
that might actually help my opinion on him.
No, like, seriously, that's what happened with me. Is because at first I was like, who is this fucking guy? Kind of creepy, little tank sexual there, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Then he basically moves on, and then you realize he's the most empathetic character in the fucking room. You're just all like, oh, I actually kind of like this guy now. What the fuck?
So maybe we'll see if there's a turn. Like, I still feel like I don't want to forgive him for just being that weird asshole who kept showing up so much, and I was Game, why are you pushing this guy?
No, he's gonna, like, I think he's gonna show up, like, I don't know, does he show up on the Winter Witch map? He shows up another time, and that's a kind of bullshit, because there's a map later where you meet the Winter Witch again, but this time it's the Winter Witch on one side and Tank Commander on the other side, and you're like, I'm fucked.
Oh god, yeah, no. That's like,
That map, though, specifically...
This is one of those, especially since Axe is in chat, and I know he's somewhere in the middle of VC1. Like, this is hard to talk around, because, like, on the one hand, they outright say stuff about characters in VC4, but at the same time, those are still spoilers to talk about in terms of VC1.
Yeah.
So we're talking around the issue. But yeah, no, like, that's a bad time.
Good, thankfully, it's another one of those two-part maps. So, like, if you recognize the signs of it early enough, you can get a big advantage.
Oh, okay. So Axis says he's just looking up guides. Yeah, no, like we don't necessarily want to spoil people for the game entirely, but when you meet Chimera, they straight up say she's a Valkyria.
Yeah.
Like, they don't hide it at all. And you're like, oh, this is that character for this game. And then you're like, oh shit. Because fucking Selvaria was like, oh my god.
Actually, Chimera is, like, really interesting. Like, apparently she has inferiority complex towards Selvaria.
Yeah, that's cool. Because, well, we know for sure Selvaria is a full-blooded Valkyria in the story.
Yeah.
And she displays the real shit powers. I remember that cutscene from chapter, like, 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
Where she just goes out and you're like, oh, fuck. There's magic in this game. And then you fight her on foot and, like, she just shoots her fucking blue laser beams at you. And it's...
I won by map by using my tank to pin her to a fucking wall.
Yeah, that's basically what you do, is you use the Edelweiss to just stop her from shooting your guys with laser beams and fucking hoof it.
Oh man, the fight when she was on the fucking wall.
Oh yeah, no, and when she gets her machine gun, she's just as scary. Like, she's explicitly not using her Valkyrie powers. She's still a terrifying combatant. But no, the thing about that is, if you played VC1, they just straight up tell you, okay, so she's the Valkyria, and you're like, oh boy, this is gonna be bad, isn't it? So, like, you telling me she's gonna show up on a map, I'm like, that's not great. That's not great, because they're gonna do weird shit with her. And in this case, it's completely justified because she's, like, the relic of an ancient civilization with laser beam powers, and you're like, well, There's not a lot you can do for plan for
like,
that.
I'm not gonna lie. On that map, I honestly cheated because I lost the first time because, as I said, surprise, Tank Boy and the Winter Witch. So the second time is I literally took my time, piled up all my my tank, my lances, and everything on one side. Because the way it works is when you trigger the second part, it just starts you like wherever. It doesn't like automatically start with their turn. It just like wherever you stop.
Oh yeah, so it's like when the twins show up, they just spawn at that point.
Yeah. So I basically just waited, and then I used the Hoffen and all my answers to lay in the Klaus because the victory condition for that map is just beat Klaus. So I'm all like, I can do this. Yeah,
it's funny. You did exactly what I did with the twins map, which was okay. So they're gonna spawn when I take the command post. When I do that this time, I'm not gonna do it in the middle of a blizzard, so that I have my full interception range, and I'm just gonna position a wall of fucking fire, and it worked. I mean, I kind of forgot their position a little bit, so I spawned the Hoffen in a little bit of a bad spot. It was literally like, okay, trigger. I left Odin way the fuck back at the command post you need to take, because the game doesn't penalize you for leaving it there. And then I'm like, okay, do the thing. And they spawn, and I'm just like, all right, Hoffen mortars. My 3 fucking shock troopers, fire him up. I had Jean. I did what you did, and I gave Jean the leadership position, so I have a Lancer with a leader pip. And just like,
I honestly, it's like the only person that doesn't have one. So it's like, I mean, only class.
Yeah, I don't. Engineers don't, but that's okay. You only ever really need one engineer ever anyway, except for maybe some like map strats. Yeah. Mostly you just need like I tucked Rita in, warming herself behind the Hoffen's radiator, and was just like, you stay here, and the Hoffen never dies.
Like honestly, that's true. That's what I do too. Like
because that's the easiest way to keep the tank alive is just engineer. You stay here and just heal. Because you start piling armor upgrades onto the Hoffen, and it'll take some abuse, which is good because it's such a key unit, and you very rarely get extra tanks. I like that the game did give you generic tanks at some points. That's like a cool mechanic. Yeah. But for most maps, it's like, okay, you got the Hoffen, and it's important, and then you can either take the Glory or the Cactus.
Yeah. Something I do enjoy about 4 is that not every map lets you have the Hoffen. Sometimes you have to actually hoof it as Klaus.
Yeah, there was like 1 or 2 maps, I think, in VC1 that did it, and that was... Or it's like one, and it's early, and it's specifically because...
You haven't got to the tank yet.
Yeah. Well, no, there's 2, but it might be an interlude. There's one where Alicia is hurt, and you're in the forest with Welkin. That's also on foot, but that's also early, and I don't know if that's like one of their interludes or if that was an actual... I think that was a main thing. You get like ambushed at night.
Yeah, but like in this one, like when you do like Kai's flashback and it's you and it's Klaus.
I loved... that was another case where I was like, this is a clever mechanic that is a non-standard win condition.
Yeah.
And then at the end, like you said, Kai just is like, oh, the sights are just adjusted wrong. I could have done it perfect in the first place.
It's great. Where was I going with that? I totally forgot. I was talking about... Oh yeah, Klaus, like... have you? No, you're still just at the winter. Which no, you. I'm trying to remember. Have you disabled the cannons? Did you have to like get paradropped onto the fucking fortress yet?
No,
okay.
Not yet.
Okay, so like you still like that means you haven't done the supply run either. Okay, because there's like 2 maps. Like actually, I think it's the map like after the one you got. Yeah, it's like you're pretty close. But you're like having 2 maps coming out where you don't get the tank. You have is his name Klaus?
Claude.
Yes, Claude. It's Claude. God damn it! I keep saying Klaus because I'm thinking about other tank guy.
But yeah, so you get Claude on foot as a scout.
Yeah,
as a scoutman.
And I think it's actually check because he still has all his like usual potentials. Which, when I think about it, I'm like, no, they're just solid. They're solid, actually kind of solid scout potentials.
Yeah, he's got accuracy up, and he's got interception fire down.
Yeah.
He's got 1 for Riley, I think. Just, hanging out, hanging out potentials, great potentials.
Again, though, talking about Valkyria's, like, I know Omega ain't gonna get the sad, but I was a sad. I wasn't sad enough to cry.
I mean, I don't know.
But
I might it because this is on camera. Obviously, it really depends on the mood of the recording going into whatever the scenes are. Like sometimes it can be like an emotional thing. Like I mean, like I obviously have serious feelings at certain points of our Extella Let's Play, but also there are other times when you know, if the mood whiplash is a little too high, it can still be like...
It's not going to be a mood whiplash, because it's one of those things you totally see coming, and you're just going to be like, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. That's really fucked up.
No, that sounds like VC.
Yeah.
Especially consider... Like, even if... Because while obviously there's the Empire does some bad shit, but also... Remember when you play VC1, the Federation also did some dumb shit, too. And maybe that should not be forgotten. Because that was a whole map.
By the way, where I'm at in the game, the defeat of Prince Maximilian has already happened, so you're actually going...
wow. So you keep going past VC1 ends. That's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the couple times that they've interacted. Like, the supply-based mission we talked about with the armored trains, that's... You explicitly are like, this is going to be a supply base that is going to be supplying the war effort in Gallia.
And you're like, fuck no.
I'm like, nope.
And honestly, that probably saved your life. Even as much as Minerva...
It probably helped
Minerva would not like to
in some way. Yeah, I think Minerva's I mean, I know she was tight with Squad F. I think she's being, at the moment anyway, at this point in the story, she's being a little too hard-ass about it, because as much as she does acknowledge that Squad E is really strong, and she, thinks that Claude should pull his weight in that regard, at the same time, what was another pack of guys really gonna help if they were getting if the entire rest of the Ranger Corps got their asses kicked that bad? Like, on the one hand, sure, if they did make it a map, obviously you'd win because you're playing. Mm-hmm. But from a storytelling perspective, adding another, couple dozen guys, logically, you still should have got your ass kicked.
Honestly, I think that's, why she, agrees to, join Squad F and stuff, because it's one of those things that, she kind of has to compartmentalize, but she can't really get over it.
Well, yeah, obviously she can't. That's one of her potentials at the moment, is still that if she bumps into Claude on the map, she can get pissed off about it.
Yeah. So she understands the logic, but she can't control the emotion. Mm-hmm. Which I think it speaks a lot for Minerva's character. I really like her. Yeah, no, Minerva's a great character. I'm... As much as I talk in early Let's Plays, oh, here's Lieutenant Minerva being... Lieutenant Victor being a hard-ass again. It still also follows for her character. And I think you said early, her rivalry with Claude makes a lot of sense, because Claude's kind of a weirdo, squishy boy. He's a soft boy. Yeah. He's not a hard boy. He's a soft boy. He is a very soft boy.
And yet, like we talked about, he's, an ace tank commander. He was valedictorian in his class at the academy. He's good at his job, just his, social skills are kind of a little weird and soft-hearted for a elite military commander. So I could totally see how, somebody, coming from a long line of honorable soldiers, Minerva's what? Why is this weirdo better than me? You can see why their rivalry exists, and Claude basically has no rivalry at all. It's completely unreciprocated in rivalry terms anyway.
Yeah.
He's just
which is probably infuriates her more.
Yeah, probably. Because to Claude, it's just yeah, okay, Minerva, whatever, let's do the thing. The only time it seems to get serious is when Raz and Kai are upset that they stole the fucking bacon, and he's and Minerva challenges them to a duel, basically, and he's okay, well, the squad really wants that bacon, so we're gonna do the thing for the bacon. And that's another one of those maps that it's funny. Minerva talks about how honorable she is and that she stacks the fucking deck in her favor. She reveals she has a tank. She has her assistant try and completely clothesline you. And
it's not your fault. You. Well, that's one of the things in the Art of War specifically. The first person to arrive at the battlefield will always have the advantage.
Yeah, no, but also that's one of those cases where I'm like, that I think was more... That map was another one of those cases where I thought it was more fun than frustrating, because, like, honestly, even if I hadn't seen Crystal up on that rooftop the first time, she didn't do a lot of damage when she showed up, like, because my units were all hunkered down in, like, sandboxes holding that one base she's overlooking.
Well, I was more concerned not so much for damage, but just because vision, because I'm still not entirely sure how the enemy's AI vision works.
Yeah, sightlines are a little weird. They clarify a little bit in the stealth mission, the Kai's interlude, where they explicitly point out, hey, different types of unit have different vision cones, and they have different sizes of interception range. So,
yeah,
like, a shock trooper is basically just straight ahead, so if you come at it from the side or behind, he won't see anything. Scouts are, like, everything but, like, literally behind their head, and their blind spot is valid sight range. Also, by the way, how I dealt with Crystal was I had one of my scouts sneak around, jog up some stairs on the parallel roof, because you can't even get to Crystal's roof. You literally can't. And just pop her in the back. Because she was looking the other way at the command post, and a scout just walked up and went pop, pop. That map was funny, though, because even though Minerva pulled out all the stops to just bum rush that command post, I still put 2 mortars and 2 snipers in it. And then after the Hafen did a little work on the front, I had it go around and basically just fortify that position anyway. So it was hilarious because she kept trying to send dudes at me over and over again, and they're just getting mowed down by mortars. The tank comes around, mowed down by mortars. Minerva herself was the only one who could stay alive in there, and that's just because in that map she's just invincible. She's just literally indestructible. She ducks everything, and she heals a lot every turn. I'm pretty sure if you tried really hard to build a specific anti-Minerva setup, you could beat her, but just the general rule is, you don't actually just beat Minerva. You have to capture the command post while she's distracted.
Like, honestly, I killed her with interception fire.
You must have had a lot of guys then.
No, it was just Raz and fucking, what's his right-hand name? I can't remember his name.
Something with a
like,
V.
For some odd reason, like, she just ran straight past them. It was in that box corridor where all the fences are. They were, like, in there, facing outward. She just ran in, so they started shooting at her, and she just kept running, like, through it. And before she got out of range, like, both of them, like, took her down. It was just like, okay, that was kind of anticlimactic.
Interesting. All right, so
because I don't know why, but she completely ignored them.
Probably because her AI is programmed to bum rush the checkpoint, the command post. Like literally, that's what all her guys on that half of the map do. That's what the tank tries to do. That's what she tries to do. The whole point is that basically, because you can't see through the fences, she's just gonna come at you hard and fast.
Yeah, I didn't so I think I literally just got lucky with my placement of those 2 guys because otherwise, she just would have made it straight through.
Yeah, like I said, I basically just stonewall her with mortars and snipers, and then I ran the Hafen over there, and at a certain point, maybe not past her initial move, but after a certain point, once she starts taking interception fire, she does the classic enemy AI trick where, like, I'm taking interception fire, immediately stop my movement.
Yep.
So I just basically pinned her in with the Hafen's machine gun. I think I summoned a shock trooper reinforcement and just held the point. I need to check what my ranking is on that map. I might go back and try that one again and see if I can do some fun stuff.
I think I got an A on it. That's why I didn't have to do it again.
Well, yeah, because you seem to have accidentally exploited her AI.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because I deliberately exploited her AI, but not as successful as you did. That said, like the twins were also super vulnerable to interception fire. That's how I got most of the way through them, was interception and retaliation.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the second one, I mortared the first one like twice and then shot her a little bit. The second one was a dumbass, and she completely faced the opposite direction from Kai in a sniper nest. So even though she was crouched, I was still able to drop a sniper bullet right on the back of her head in a surprise attack, and she had no health left. Which, my other favorite trick when enemies duck is aim low. If you aim at their shins, even if they try to evade, you still hit them. They take less damage, I think, but they still take damage for sure. You don't miss. Which is something only you as the player can do.
I think the thing that annoys me most about the twins, aside from their constant ducking, is the fact that one of their favorite tactics is to literally run up into, kissing range of your damn units to fire at them. I'm like, I can't use grenades or mortars right now.
Oh yeah, no, that was what they like. My shock troopers couldn't use flamethrowers, which is my preferred tactic for people, but they were just like, no, excuse me, Raz, Lily, I'm just gonna tuck in. We're getting a little snug in this foxhole, and I'm just gonna put a crossbow bolt in your shoulder, Raz. It's not gonna really inconvenience you at all because you're like level 14, but it's gonna inconvenience the commander because he can't do anything about it.
There have been a couple times when I'm like, I'm sorry, Squad E, you got to go down with them.
Well, and the beautiful thing is, if you have Lancers in there, they're mostly blast-proof.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, usually Lancers are not in there.
Lancers are fun, but they're still a little restricted.
Yeah.
Even if when you can get Mortar Lances suck butts.
Yeah, they do.
You've got the game gives you quite a few Grenadiers. Just use Grenadiers if you want to do that AOE shit. They can do interception fire. They can do indirect. They can do true indirect fire, which I love. And it's great. And like I said, I love that snipers can do interception fire. Kai is such a wizard. Just like, oh, there's a guy way the fuck over there. Boop. She actually hit the twins a couple times with interception fire from her nest, and it was just hilarious. It was just like, boop. You know, not a lot of damage, but a little bit of damage. And it's so funny that snipers can do that now. It's great. Also, it's weird. That map warns you that enemies will have snipers that can do interception fire. They're all scouts. They don't actually use sniper elites.
Yeah, that's right. Because they're in the fucking nests.
Yeah. And the game warns you there will be snipers, and like, oh, okay, they're going to be elites now. We're going to have to worry about sniper interception fire. They don't actually use any snipers. Maybe they were too scared to do that right away. Or maybe they just wanted to distract you into thinking that was the real obstacle, and then crossbow teenage ninjas. Though that does remind me, I think their models have knives. Raz's model has a trench knife. Also, in a cutscene, Riley pulls a fucking sidearm. Like, Riley pulls a sidearm, she pulls a pistol in a cutscene. Why do these guys not have these actual guns? I wonder if it might make the game too easy, but like, if my Grenadiers could like pull a pistol if they're too close for mortars, that'd be handy. That's probably why Riley has a pistol in Fluff. I think
it'd be more interesting. I think it would be fucking interesting if they actually had like a CQC.
Oh yeah, no. Like if you could there are in 2 and 3, I think there are melee classes that use like giant anime swords, but still they exist. So like I would love if you could actually like if Raz could pull his trench knife and just clock somebody. That'd be great. Like I know that's kind of what the flamethrower does, but still.
I think that mean like you would actually have to have like actual ammo, not just you use so many bullets but you still have infinite bullets.
Yeah,
that's the problem I have with like engineers. It's like they can reload my ammo, but that really means that I just I want to give my character another grenade.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, that's it.
Mostly I find the reloading part of engineers is good for only Lancers and Grenadiers, because it's like. Okay, sometimes the first shot doesn't connect and I really need you to make it count. Though quite a few people have like extra shots. Snipers too sometimes, but not all the time.
Yeah.
Like snipers usually you don't need to spend a lot of ammo to make them useful.
Yeah.
And then of course you have the potential like Kai has extra shot. I've got one more shot.
Yeah, right.
Kai's a lot of fun. I'm so glad they give you a sniper as a key plot unit right away. As much as I was glued to Marina Wolfstone in VC1, like
Marina. Oh my god, I remember you. You were precious.
No, she was a goddess of shooting people. She was phenomenal. But yeah, no, like it's. Yeah, there's a lot of good, solid units there. Like I said, it's kind of weird they don't give you a leader who's a Lancer, but then they just give you the ability to make leaders, so it's fine. I can kind of see why. Like, having to drag Largo on some missions was weird.
Well, that's why I also like the ability to literally drag your units with you. It's like, bam!
Yes, that's great. The ability... Sometimes I use it and I forget to actually tell units to come with me, which is hilarious. But still, it's great. The fact that you can retreat for free from command posts from the menu, you don't have to like click on them. Also, the ability to board the cactus. The cactus is great. I love it. Like I admit it's a little it is a little worrying that it's so fragile, but I have like only once actually had a problem where the cactus got blown up and I had to like recall the units who were inside it.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, by the way, that was that first Siegwald line map with Klaus and the Vulcan, where he tank sniped the Hafen and the Cactus. And I'm like, well, the mission's not over, so I'm going to keep sending scouts and around to do the actual job now. It did unfortunately cost me Riley, who was riding in the APC. I just, called her back anyway, but still, that was like, okay, that's a little annoying. I lost a turn of anti-tank mortars, but... Yeah, the cactus's fragility has not been a serious problem to me yet. And I do like that you can put parts to carry more people in. I can carry 3 people in there now.
Oh, did you get your smoke grenade?
Yes, thank God. I got the smoke mortar for the Hafen. I'm like, oh, yes. I remember this.
They just give it to you, and it's still fucking useful.
Yeah, it's not a plot thing.
Yeah.
Though that does actually make me question, because the original smoke mortar round was an Asara special, so... That does kind of make me wonder how I got it all the way out in the middle of nowhere.
I'm gonna blame Riley.
Yeah, she literally turned one of her stick grenades into basically a tear gas grenade.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's great. Once it was a plot important thing, but once you got the smoke mortar, that was like, oh yeah, this is just great. Like we've said before, I love how this game plays with environmental effects and stuff now. Like, the blizzard was actually it goofed me up one time because, like I said, there was unexpected factors, and it ended up fucking me over a little, but otherwise the blizzard was like a great, like, okay, so it's dark, but only for a couple turns, so both sides' interception range goes down, but also the it's a tactical double edge for both sides, and it was really neat how it worked out, and then it kind of subsides for a little, and then it comes back.
Like, when you're fleeing, like, the map's, like, where you just winter, and it's like, and guess what? Avalanches. And everyone, including the enemies who are on this, will die.
Mm-hmm. And then it even turns that into a plot point on that map. It's like, oh, gee, there's an awful lot of assholes up on that ridge we literally can't reach. What could we possibly do?
I don't know if I was going to talk about it. I'm pretty sure I was going to talk about some things, but I think I might have forgotten them mostly because how long have we been talking about VC4 here?
Well, it depends on how long the initial conversation went, but we're at about an hour 10 into the recording, so
I'm pretty sure we spent
at minimum 30, probably more like 45 or 50 minutes.
Wow. VC4 is good. I want it I want to get back. Well, I'll use this to segue. I want to get back to it, but I've been playing some other games. Like, I said, like, I beat, like, God of War, like, a week ago. That was good shit. Not completely accurate Norse mythology, for reasons. Spoiler reasons. But, as I said, really fun. Actually, like, opened my eyes to a lot of Norse mythology and just how much of a dick Odin is. Something about,
Odin's kind of a dickbag, yes.
But I decided to borrow Spider-Man, Marvel's Spider-Man, and holy shit, I'm having a blast with that. Yeah, it's basically, a lot of people are saying, like, this is, like, the best Spider-Man game in existence, and I don't really have any claims to say it for or against it, because, real talk, I haven't played a lot of Spider-Man games. I think the last Spider-Man game I played was on the Sega Genesis. It was a while.
Yeah, I not the infamous Spider-Man 2, but I played the first PS2 Spider-Man game. I think that was the last one I seriously played. Which was fun, I don't have but it was still PS2 era.
Yeah. So I don't have any, like, major basis to, like great Spider-Man games, but you know what I say? I just say it's a good fucking game. I fucking like it. It's like, of course this happens when I turn on my tablet.
That's okay.
God damn it.
My alert for Girls Frontline in the evening goes off like almost every VC4 episode. I don't think you can hear it so good on the mic, but it happens every time. Because I'm recording at like 9 o'clock at night, and I'm like, well, my condenser's charged.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit, I meant to summon another. Whatever. So the gameplay is like the game's really fun. It's all of New York, just swing wherever the fuck you want. Like, super parkour, super web. Combat's fun. Combat's kind of hard, too. It's real easy to get killed in that game. Real easy. But, that makes dodging all the more important. There is no block. There is only dodge.
The true Spider-Man way.
Yep, the Spider-Man way. The quips are funny. It's like, and I was thinking about it, like, Spider-Man, I think, probably is, like, Spider-Man is probably my, like, probably favorite Marvel hero, like, out of all of them.
I've always felt a great spiritual kinship with Spider-Man.
Like, cause, like, one of the things that, like always tickles me is, like, he literally has, like, a Twitter, like, I put this in air quotes, a Twitter page, where, like, it's just a picture of him, like, doing a selfie on top of the Empire State Building, and just people, like, just in his feed. Like, his handle is, New York City Wall Crawler. And, he doesn't, like, talk to everybody, but once in a while he'll comment to, like, people, and just people posting and shit like that. Like, this is the thing that killed me, like literally slayed me for a little bit. The game has a fast travel function, and when you use it, it shows Spider-Man riding the subway as Spider-Man.
Nice. Which is a very Spider-Man thing to do.
And it's great because, like, there's different scenes, like, one he'll be playing on his phone, and there'll be a guy reading at a newspaper, looking at the newspaper, then looking at him. Another one, he's talking to another person dressed as, like, a shittier-looking Spider-Man. There's one where he's just, like, banging, like, bobbing his head to some music with some people. And one he's just, like, playing on his fucking phone. I'm like, and I was really, like, I like Spider-Man because he does not he does not sell himself as a hero.
No, he's just following the Tao of Uncle Ben. With great power comes great responsibility. He's got a lot he can do, so he does more, but he's still just a dude.
He is still just a dude. Like, he likes being Spider-Man, but he's, like, also super invested in his in the game, in his prosthetics work with Dr. Octavius, because he wants to help the world doing that. He's just not all about being Spider-Man. He's all about helping people. That's what it is. And I was like, yeah, he's very down to. I find it very, considering he fucking flies through the skies on web. He's very down to earth. I wouldn't say necessarily humble, because Jesus fucking Christ, he got a wisecrack for everything. But it's someone that you, like, if you saw him on the streets, you wouldn't feel like, you feel like you go up and talk to him.
Be like, hey, yo, Spider-Man, what's happening?
And guess what? That happens in the game. Like, if you go down to street level, people be like, hey, what's up, Spider-Man? Like, you can give high fives to people.
Nice. All right. So I gotta get Spider-Man sometime. Maybe not right now.
Well, yeah, but no, it is like, it's these kind of details that I really fucking like. Like, yeah, the combat, the web slinging, but no, it's like people will post to your fucking Twitter. You can high five them. You can hang out with them on the subway. It's things like that make the game special to me, and that's why I'm, like, really enjoying it. It's really good.
So I sometimes, because obviously, like you said, VC4 is a Let's Play project, so, and as a slight complaint, I've said that I don't think, considering how many maps you get, the game gives you enough skirmish maps fast enough. Mm-hmm. Considering they literally don't care about reusing assets. Like, we talked about the map with the twins. That's literally the map you just did in a completely different story chapter. It's the exact same map, just the direction you're going is flipped.
Yep.
And they added an environmental effect, so they don't care about reusing assets, so it's hard to play in the downtime.
Instead of grass, there is now snow.
So, like I said, instead of playing some of that in my downtime sometime, I have been following a little bit of Lucky's advice. He told me to download Mafia 3 when it was free. So I've been playing that just a tiny bit. Not a lot, just, like maybe an hour, half an hour every night when I need something to do to... Because what I'm also doing is, I'm still super keen on Legend of the Five Rings, so I'm listening to a long actual play campaign of it, so I need something to do while I listen to stuff. And some of that is gacha stuff, which we'll talk a lot about the Halloween event in FGO right now on Let's Talk FGO soon.
Soon.
But there's a little bit of action going on in Girls Frontline and Azure Lane as well. So some of that is some of what I do, but I just need something to do like on the console to like relax, let my phone recharge. So I've been playing a little bit of Mafia 3. I like that it's got a lot of flavor. It's got a lot of deep story like right out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
The constant flash forwards feel like they're a little distracting. Like I get that they're doing foreshadowing, but some of them are kind of annoying that they're constantly pulling you in and out of timelines. I kind of wish the game would settle a little first and then start doing that. Because I'm literally
that,
like a couple hours in, maybe.
Did you get to the part where there's the fire and Painted Black is blaring in the background?
Not yet. Like
Okay.
I said, I haven't played too much.
Okay. As long as you got that.
But it's fun and entertaining. To me, it feels a little clunky, but maybe it might just be because it's been a while since I played a third-person shooter, and also might just be because Lincoln is a huge mofo.
He is. He's
a big boy, and he feels big. Like when you're moving around, you move a little slow, but if you sprint, you get some speed going. When you grab people, and just power slam them into the ground. But yeah, the core gameplay is fun, and like I said, it's got a lot of flavor that I really like. Like
yeah, I'm okay with the Flash Florida because it definitely sells. Like I personally love like historical and like military documentaries where they do that style of like they show some shit and then they just cut to some guy talking about it and they go back to the action. It's like
I get the theme they're going for. It's just when we're early, it's a little schizophrenic. Like it's a little bit of a wide swish. I kind of because it's sometimes it's making me hard because obviously like I said I'm like listening and doing other stuff while I do it. I'm not necessarily 100% focused on the game. It feels a little distracting to be like, okay, so now we're here, but now we're there, but now I'm gameplaying. Where am I? Am I still a week in the past? Am I in the future? Like, I think from where I am now, that's going to settle out a little bit because I've completed the initial part of like the Federal Reserve job. So like, I'm assuming we're going to be all in the future
part.
facing. Yeah, I'm a little past that. So
okay,
like,
I get it. Yeah, that part was a little dyslexic. Yeah, they settled that out.
Okay, that's good. Because like it wasn't a serious concern. It's just like it felt a little distracting because I'm just lightly playing it.
Yeah.
The only other thing I've really been playing a little bit of is there was a puzzle game this month called Bridge, which is very Escher-esque, and I've been doing that. But then sometimes I get like, okay, I'm bored of solving puzzles now. I'm done.
You can only do it for so long.
But yeah, it's just like little stuff I've been doing. Otherwise, yes, like I said, still super into L5R. Keeping up with the fiction on that.
Yep.
I talked a lot about...
Martha...
Go ahead. Well, I was just going to say that it was actually on Let's Talk FGO, but I talked a little bit about my thoughts on the novella, which I hadn't got to reading the last time we recorded What's Up. But then I did. Actually, it was that evening, and it was great because I sat and I read the book, and I just on a whim I had YouTube kind of assemble a mix for me it was actually Kingdom Hearts 2 soundtrack. I just played that, and it was like I said on Let's Talk FGO. It was a really good experience for me to just sit and read something that to me was like super engaging and interesting, and to have a lot of these like music going on in the background that reminded me a lot of younger stuff. Chunks the KH2 soundtrack have been in my head all week randomly. It's so well written. God. Yeah, that's definitely a purchase I for sure need to make is the 3 and then the bundle leading up to it too, because I need to replay those games. And play the games I never got to play because holy shit. Kingdom Hearts got weird with, like, releases.
So, do you remember that... I don't know if we ever talked about it. Do you remember that tweet about what has come out between Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3?
I do. We did not talk about it, like, on a show, but yes, I think I linked that tweet because it was shocking to me.
It blows... Same. Okay, so, guys, I want you to, like, take this into your minds for a little bit, all right? So, between the release of Kingdom Hearts 2... and Kingdom Hearts 3, we have had the entire Uncharted series come out. A game that came out on the PS3 and ended on the PS4. We have had I think four Devil May Cry games come out. Like 10 Monster Hunter games come out. We have had the rise and fall of Telltale Games, the rise of Platinum Games. We have had, let's see, what else was there?
That would also, I think, include the rise and fall of Clover, who Platinum was made out of.
Yeah. It's like, the entire, like, God, I wonder if I have that. No, I probably can't find that tweet real quick. God damn it. But it was fucking nuts of just how much had come out in that
Google
time.
auto-completed, so hold on. Maybe.
And I'm intensely scrolling because I want you
yeah,
guys to hear
here it is. So the tweet, the original tweet was, or at least one of the tweets was, 3 Smash games, 3 Presidents, 11 Assassin's Creed games, 3 different Spider-Man actors, which is true. We've gone through multiple iterations of Spider-Man. The whole of the Last Guardian situation came out. That was it was announced, disappeared, resurfaced, and was released. That was all in that time gap.
Happened to
I think one of the original tweets, or at least the one I linked to, was like the Spider-Man franchise finished, rebooted, ended again, and was roped into Marvel.
Yep.
Oh, the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe happened. That's right, because that was 2008 with Iron Man. The entire MCU.
That is nuts. Oh my god.
So it's just like, wow, wow. It makes sense, but also, wow. Oh no, Konami still exists.
Yeah, by the way, guys, you can still get the Kingdom Hearts All for One bundle. It's the thing you gotta remember, though, it's not a physical thing. It's a digital one.
It's a digital bundle.
It's a digital bundle. If you get the one that comes with KH3, you'll basically get a pre-order for that, but it doesn't look like there's gonna be an actual physical All for One. That's what makes me sad. I kind of wanted a physical.
Yeah, I mean, like, I still have my PS2 discs, but I do like some physical aspects, right?
Yeah. As I said, like, because they're all the fucking, they're all the remixes, plus, like, cutscenes and whatnot.
Yeah, and the final mix stuff, and yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, man, like, I don't know, like, I've played... I'm gonna have to probably this December. I'm gonna have to sit down and knock some shit out. I might get it then. I might I don't know. I really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm getting fucking Kingdom Hearts 3 day one. It will happen. Let's see here. Oh, so side story. Before we ever always before we record, Omega go get something to eat, and about that time I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go get something to eat too. And today something happened that I have been, like, secretly hoping would happen for, like, the past several years ever since I became an adult. I went to my fave Mexican joint. It was pretty busy. And so I just went up to the counter and waited, and I was going to get my order. The owner is just, like, this nice old Mexican woman. She was, like, basically busy working at the grill. She saw me and was like, I'll be with you in a moment. I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Take your time. And then she just looked at me and it's all like, 2 burritos? Yeah? Steak? Yeah, I got you. And I was like, yes! They remembered my order.
Nice.
I was like, I don't care. It's like, it's one of those things, like, you know, like, when, like, the people who, like, work at a restaurant, like, when they know your face and they just know what you're gonna order, that is a feeling of familiarity and, you know, I wouldn't say, like, closeness, but, like, kind of a courtesy, a business kind of respect, you know, something, you know, like, I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like I am now someone I'm someone they remember. I guess that's the word. I am memorable to them because I come in the same day, around the same time, order the same thing, like, pretty regularly. That, like, hey, listen, this is what he's gonna get. Like, because I've read stories about this, like, specifically, like, with pizza delivery guys. Like, there'd be some people who would order, like, a pizza, like, at the same time, like, every week, like clockwork. And it got to the point, and sometimes it got to the point that when they didn't order a pizza, the pizza place would be like, what the fuck? They would send someone with the pizza anyway and find out the person was like in some sort of medical emergency. And it's all like, that is fucking amazing. I love that. And I'm glad that I have gotten a little bit of that. Just like a little like of that hometown familiarity. Like where I can like talk to them while they're doing stuff and like, you know, they know what I want already. It's like, oh god, I love it.
Yeah. So I think while you were talking that, I was reminded that I think you cut off a little earlier. You were going to mention, I'm pretty sure what you were going to mention was that since I was talking about L5R, and we did ask the group if we wanted to switch, but actually what Marth did was he said he got off his butt and he finished his character.
He put me on the fucking spot. He literally put me on the spot. I'm like, god damn! Like, Martha's all like, nah, man, we're doing this.
Right.
I'm like,
he didn't even say anything. He was like, I saw him typing like when you first said that. I think what he did instead was just finish his character. Yeah, so that's fair. We can, like I said, the Mages of War was set up to be really easy. We can dick around in that for a while. I really want the PDF for L5R to come out anyway, because while I have read the beta, I have seen like pictures taken of the core rulebook and stuff assembled into albums. It's a lot better if you can have the actual professional PDF of the work done with all the proper indexing and proper searching and all that other stuff. That would just make our lives easier. So I'm okay to wait until we get an official product.
Yeah.
And I know they have a second source book called Emerald Empire that has a lot more fluff details coming out soon. So that might be good to get out just for my players. So we can still... I'm not like upset that like, oh, these guys, they're making me do Mages of War. No. I wrote it. I'm fine. Also,
while I'm thinking about that,
it's hilarious.
I need to open up a goddamn character.
I literally said this. I read over Marth's sheet. I'm like, I think you both took Starstruck. So if you're not familiar with the way Mages of War is set up, it was, while the timeline setting is a bit different, it was also heavily inspired by Valkyria Chronicles. So everybody has certain personality traits, which are like their quirks, which they take right away at character creation, which are basically like the personal potentials the units have in VC4. Some of them are positive, some of them are negative, and they're just like different weird stuff you can do. Like one of the ones Marth took was Steady Hands, which gives you a slight bonus when you do something that requires steady handwork. So, for example, shooting is one of the things, but also like medical work sometimes or certain craft checks. Starstruck is the negative chance where randomly you might meet an NPC and fall in love with them. Because you get starstruck randomly.
Real talk, I tend to get attached to female NPCs anyway. This happens all the fucking time. Like, specifically in our last Mages of War campaign, Omega made a character that was literally the antithesis to mine. I'm all like, I love her. I want her. And Omega was like, okay.
No, I mean, that's, hey, if you want to hang out with her, sure. It's funny because you really shouldn't get along, but also, I mean, hey,
you know what they say, opposites attract. How magnets
work.
Okay
with that. She was my token creepy shut-in character because she was a poison and wood mage. So she was the team sniper and had a couple of real fun. Like I think she had sadist.
Yeah,
and a couple of other fun quirks. I can actually look up what her setup was right now.
I can't remember. Like, I remember one of the other NPC was the big dude who had the machine gun, but I can't think of his name.
It's okay. He didn't get a lot of action.
No,
he was mostly, like, he was there because I wanted to make a couple of NPCs to, like, fluff out your roles. You had a scout who was a woman also.
Yeah. But, let's see here. Like, my character's card, his name is Wolfgang Schmidt. His quirks are Camaraderie, Honorable, Natural Leader, and Starstruck. You see, I'm trying to cheese some shit here because Camaraderie and Natural Leader give people within a certain meters of one of my stats plus 10 to will test, so I just want to be like, I am your buffer! Actually, what else do I have?
Also, that's funny because Marth's character, Ulrich Geisler, took Brave, so he has a plus 10 on fear tests inherently. So if he's standing right next to you, he's got like a plus 30. He is unfearable.
Well, so camaraderie is charisma modifier. Natural leader is leadership.
Yeah. So the character who is in our first playtest, which are on our channel by the way, you can check them out. They're called the Scythian Front. Mages of War. We have a Mages of War playlist. You can listen to them. They're probably not great because they were pre-good microphones and not well edited, but they exist.
They exist.
As does one of our Eclipse Phase games that sadly I never recorded a sequel to, and also a playtest of my XCOM homebrew.
Ta-da!
But yeah, so the character's name was Calanth Nightingale, and Calanth was, I think, like an orchid or something. It was a cool flower name.
Yeah,
her quirks are animal lover, bad reputation, sadist, and nocturnal. So, that's everything you need to know about this character. And I spent some EXP on her naturally to help you, but her key spells that she took were like Animal Affinity, Curse, Growth, Decoy, Shape Wood, and, Poison Breath. So yeah, a lovely person to be around.
Let's see here. How much starting XP do we get again? 500?
500, yeah.
Alright. I've already spent 150 of that. I'll work on it here later.
Let me double check. Hopefully Martha doesn't mind it. Well, I mean, we're gonna... At the very least, we'd record these for the channel, so there's no point in like, your characters are gonna get out there.
Oh, yeah.
So Marth's character built an Earth Mage, so he's got like Stone Shape, Ether Sense, Stone's Throw.
So mine's gonna be a Metal Mage, and so right now I just have Piercing Rounds and Temper. I fucking love Temper. In a game about like it's war and there's guns, I went around and hit things with a sword a lot.
You were scary good at it. You were smart enough not to engage in melee when I made you fight Dyers, who are animals which are tainted by the poison element, so they bleed poison most of the time. Yeah, I think at one point you bought a gas mask so you could get around that.
Yep.
But let's see.
I gotta recheck the stuff here, but yeah, I need some more skills. Like just from like my starting stuff, I only have command, evasion, and tactics trained.
Solid, but also there's another thing to note important about this. While spellcasting is a skill, shooting and hitting people is not. That's a core stat. It's like the Warhammer 40k RPGs. Your ability to shoot and hit people are intrinsic to your character.
Yeah, you're kind of military. You should be at least somewhat proficient at it.
So Marth's quirks are he has Gourmand as a negative, which is interesting because he's an isolate as his like background. So he like grew up in a rural community. So I guess that's he's not used to good food. He's got Brave, he's got Steady Hands, and then he has Starstruck. So he likes food and has random points. Though I will note out that the Starstruck test is a will test, so if he's standing next to you, he's better at it. And his career is just grunt. So he's a generic soldierman's.
That's interesting because I took officer actually.
That's good. You guys will pair up lately. And we're gonna use the companion rules. So hopefully you'll be able to get
that's
up
right. There. That's what's been slowing me down. I've been thinking about the companions.
Oh, actually, I should double check. I don't think Marth has a companion statted out. I should remind him.
Because we wanted to like fill out the gaps.
Yeah, because it's explicitly gonna be a buddy cop game. I'm sorry, we're not letting anybody else play. This is us. We're being petty.
Like honestly, I have a good buddy cop repertoire with Marth.
Yeah, because we've done that a lot. The Eclipse Phase game I mentioned that we have on our channel, that was a buddy cop game. There have been points I think where you've buddy copped. Was there a Mages of War session you buddy copped because Kirby couldn't make it?
Maybe.
But like we have extensively done that before.
Yeah, Martha is kind of a passive dude, and I'm an active dude. So like a lot of times you'll hear me like make suggestions for him, and he'll be like, "Okay, I'll do that." And then sometimes he'll be all like, "Maybe we should do that." And I'll be like, "I know what I'm doing," and then it like goes wrong, and he's like, "I told you." I'm like, "Damn it, Martha,
you did tell me."
I really do like playing with Martha a lot. Kirby too, when he shows up. Although one of the things that annoyed me most about Kirby is that he doesn't like it when I swear. Which just
I think he got over that a little from exposure to us.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, that doesn't necessarily speak well of us. that we got him used to it.
I say this a lot. I was a goddamn sailor. There is a reason why there is the phrase "swear like a sailor."
Mm-hmm. Also, by the way, the other good thing is I know Marth has fully embraced the ethos of the game. I'm looking at his gear list. He already bought bag of salt, chalk, and soap. He has both desert clothing and a range poncho. He bought engine grease, which is only used for some stealth abilities. Also, sometimes night camouflage. So, like, yeah, no, he definitely gets this game much like you do.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna well, since I won't be turning it back to talking about editing. See, like, one of the problems I've been having recently is I've been trying to do too much. And because I'm trying to do too much, I actually end up accomplishing very little. And it's a very weird thing. But here's the thing: when you try to do a lot of things at once, you end up tripping over yourself into doing them, and end up not making a lot of progress in a lot of things. And this is what's been happening with me, at least recently, with editing, art, and like all this, like editing, art, like and all this other stuff, like making characters and stuff. It's just like, because I start doing something, I'm working on it, and then I start getting the need of like, oh, I should be working on this other thing. And so I switch over to that, get the feeling, no, I need to be working on this other thing. And then I start getting frustrated, and I go, fuck it. I'm going to go play video games.
Yeah, I definitely have that problem sometimes too, where I get anxious about, am I spending too much time working on this thing? Should I be working on something else? And there are times when you just have to take a step back, you have to relax, you have to look at what you're doing and be like, okay, I'll do this. I'll do that. I won't do anything right now. I'm gonna take me time. That's something that I think has come out of the content creation culture very recently, is the idea that you can't be 100% on all the time. You have to take, mental health vacations, basically. You have to, like, take a day off, relax, do the stuff you want to do.
You see, the problem with me with this is I actually have, working. Like, usually my weekends would be the day off from all that, but now it's like I have to switch like around-ish. Mm-hmm. Because like I get home from work, I stay up until like we record What's Up. Like literally I got off of work about 6 hours ago, I want to say ish. I don't want to math right now.
That's fair. Nobody should have to math.
And I've just been like futzing about, watching anime, playing Spider-Man. I'm slowly working on like Girls Frontline and like Azure Lane stuff right now. I'll probably be playing Girls FGO later. But after this, I'm gonna shower and probably go to bed. Like when I wake up, like from when I wake up to when we record Let's Talk FGO, that's basically all I have of stress-free moments. Like the least, I'm not going to say stress, the least stress.
Because everybody exists with a little bit of stress.
Yeah. Because the moment we get done recording FGO, again, that's when the timer for editing starts. And that goes until the next day when I have to go back to work. So, like, there's like a very small window for me to actually just fully relax. And I've been thinking about that. I'm like, God, I need to manage my time better. Like, I'm a person, like, the best way to put this is I go with my gut feeling a lot. And honestly, it actually serves me pretty fucking well. Like people are always amazed how I can just throw out some random, like, information or numbers and be like, oh, no, that's good, that's right. And I'm like, yeah, it works. How'd you do it? My gut. But I'm, like, looking at things, like, I'm not in a position where I can just go with gut feeling. Not for something we're trying to do here in StudiOmega. I need to, like, be more precise, more focused. I need to get on my fucking meds. Because it's like trying to like do this thing. It's not something that you can't really do half-heartedly. Like honestly, it's like it's something you have. Like I'm not gonna say you have to go like 100%, 120%, 100%. Oh my god, I'm not saying you have to go 120%, 100% of the time. That was kind of a tongue twister.
You said it correct. It happened.
But it's one of those things of like I'm definitely not being as efficient as I could be. And I think if I actually put a little bit more effort into managing my time, I could actually start freeing up more time for me to relax and actually start getting more done in that amount of time. Because okay, so here's a big guilty secret. The time that takes me to edit the minimal Let's Talk FGOs, I've gotten it down to about like 3 to 4 hours. Like honestly, like I think it's like usually like Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm like, oh my god, the pressure is real. And I just sit down and I knock it out and I upload it and I scream at Omega. It's either it's rendering or it's uploading.
And I'm like,
usually
okay,
followed
cool,
by
thumbs up. And sometimes I make sure to remember to say thank you for your hard work. And I don't want Lucky to feel underappreciated because, oh my god, do I appreciate that you do that shit so I don't have to. Or also, the worst which would be so that the shit doesn't happen at all.
Yeah. Again, Lucky is manic depressive. If he does not get regular compliments when he's doing a good job, he will get super depressed and not do anything. This is a legit thing. So yes, positive feedback always helps. That's why I like people talking to me and like describing things and like, yes, interact with me. It makes me feel wanted. Mm-hmm. And like, but back to the issue, like time management, super fucking important. Like with like so much shit going on in my life, like I need to do it. Like I gotta like, I'm just gonna make sound effects now because I can't completely articulate this.
I nodded.
So like, cause right now, like I said, like the Brave list picture still not done. I barely touched. I finally got my tablet working though. That was like the major hiccup.
Some of your hiccup there was a hardware one.
Yeah, that was the high. So I finally got that working again. So now I can work on it. But like I got it working like 2 days ago. Still like nothing. Also, I'm a little, what's the word I want to use? Unsettled because like I mentioned a while ago, I unplugged my second monitor because cords almost killed me. And so I'm working on completely on one screen right now, and real talk, going from like 2 screens back down to one, it's a bit of adjustment.
I'll bet.
Like I like having 2 screens. Like I think that's like my optimal ratio. Like I don't think I could do 3 screens. I wouldn't know what to do with the third monitor. I guess I put on a video, but I never look at it because I'd be looking at the other 2 screens. Mm-hmm.
No, you need to go all the way. Go to 4.
Oh my god!
Skip the third one entirely. Go to 4.
Right and one up top. Like I've been recently like thinking about like rearranging my room because I want to maximize my space. I want to mount my TV on my wall, put my computer in the corner, get some shelf space. Because here's an interesting new segue. Because I want to get more books. I want to get good on Dead Tree books because I don't have enough books. This is one of those things that I don't know. Like maybe it's a product of my generation, but there's something about like on certain days you just literally want to curl up with a book, not with like something on your phone, not with like something on a tablet or like on a computer screen, like actual Dead Tree book.
I mean, I'll say this: as much as I love the convenience and the cost efficiency of ebooks, and like I got used to reading stuff online and on computer screens really early, so it's good to me. Mm-hmm. I also started reading early in general, and yeah, and like I just talked about the great experience I had just relaxing on my bed, hanging out, reading a little book, and playing some music in the background, you know, and just
that was my youth.
There are times when you just want to read, and the physical act of holding a book and flipping the pages is really important sometimes. Like there's a ritual to it. Like a new book has a certain smell, an old book has a certain smell.
Oh my god, I love new book smell. I also love new video game smell too.
Oh yeah, no. There's something about the newness of a lot of things that it's got like a lot of psychological baggage in your mind. This is a new thing. And it smells great.
But like me, like I like as I say, it rains a lot in my fucking state, and that's how I grew up. So I got really used to growing up. Like I would either like go to the library, which was like a mile away. You know, I walked up hills both ways. Mm-hmm. And, I just chill there for hours in, like, one of their big comfy chairs by a window where it was raining, and I would just read science fiction, like, all fucking day. Go home, like, go home with, like, 2 or 3 books, and be, like, super excited to read those. And, now that I'm an adult and I'm running around with my head cut off trying to make times for everything, I'm just like, God, I miss those times. And, like, so that was one of the reasons why I, like, one reason I started, like, I did to support the fucking industry, but another reason because I wanted to recapture that magic because I started buying light novels. Now, some people will scoff at light novels, saying, "Oh, those aren't like really books. They're fucking real books, all right."
I mean,
I'm reading Spice and
how long would you say your average light novel length is? Like
what?
What's the page length of your average light novel? Like you're reading something right now. How many pages is it?
Let's see here. I'm on the 3rd volume of Spice and Wolf. It is 246 pages.
Okay, so I talked about this before. I just bought the first L5R novella that FFG put out, The Sword and the Spirits. It's great. You should read it. Sukune is my fave. That's a novella. It is 123 pages. Okay, and then there's like an extra couple dozen pages of like fluff material for the setting in the back, but that's not part of the official page count. But I bought that. I'm considering maybe next Patreon payday because I got other stuff that I need to be concerned about to make sure that we stay functional and stuff. By the way, that's not a buong. That's my fucking cabinet closing because I have shelves above my computer for books. But yeah, that's like if you want to say light novels aren't serious books, like no, like that's a novella is a short form novel, and it was only like 120 pages. If you got like 200,
I will
pages,
say though, light novels have some of the weirdest fucking settings though.
Not fair.
I was just actually looking into this earlier. I'm gonna get back into light novels earlier, so kind of a segue. But a light novel that has the art done by Pochi Ida. You might know her from her work of the Elder Sister one, basically where the guy wishes for Shib Nagurath to become his older sister. It is both a general audience manga and a doujin. I consider both canon. But she does the art for another one called Do You Like Your Mother? Both of her normal attack is 2 swings at full power, which is basically an isekai. I think it's a video game isekai where the main character gets pulled into with his mother, and his mother is like super doting and overwhelmingly affectionate with him. Yeah. And like that just got an anime, and I'm all like, do I want to read this? This seems to be setting up some magical realms, if you know what I am saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, like if it's written well, yeah, it can still be a fun time. But it's just like,
We have that thought a lot.
Yeah. Actually, I posted I didn't actually show the image of it. Hang on. Because it's super cute. Like, I love the... Bam! Here... Let me just copy the fucking image. I'll do it.
No, since I'm thinking about buying stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and... because we got some mid-month patrons, I'm gonna go ahead and pop in my PayPal.
Like, that's the mother. She... Oh, wait, no, wait. There's a better fucking image. Hey...
Oh yeah, you mentioned this, that it was getting an anime somewhere else, I think, and I was like, yeah. I don't know what this is. Now I know.
Every time I make the sound effect, I'm clicking something. Sorry.
That's fine. You're killing the dead air because I'm also clicking around to PayPal.
Yeah, like so. I just posted like a couple images in our mod channel. Like that's the mother. I think my. You see what I mean?
Yes, no. I instantly have thoughts.
I love that she has this ice and flaming sword in her shopping basket, though. It's like chee.
Yep.
But that's the art. So, like, yes, light novels are strange, but they're still good reads. Like, I dare anyone to say something bad about Spice and Wolf, which was originally a light novel. I will fucking fight you. It's like, God, so good. And like I got like other light novels like on the way that I'm wanting to get reading too. It's like it's just one of those things I enjoy reading. I just enjoy it. It's like I'm glad I'm getting back to like my roots with it. But talking about upcoming things, Omega, you might be excited to hear. Next year they're coming out with a Konosuba movie.
Nice.
Yeah, actually, let me see if I can find out the details real quick here.
Yeah, I was about to ask, is it a continuation of the anime story, basically?
Let me see here. Let's see here. Mysterious new project. Yeah, specific dates on the plot or premiere have not been released yet. But let's see here. Oh wow, the Tokyo New City Orchestra will music has been featured in the series. Will be holding a special concerts. Let's see here. The same cast will return. So basically, they're using the same. It looks like they're using the exact same. Team for it.
Nice.
Staff. I can't think of words at the moment. I'm looking here. Yeah, all we really got right now is a 2019 release date. But that's super fucking hype. I said, because remember, they did say that like if there was enough interest, they would do a season 3. So yeah. I guess they got enough interest to do a movie?
Yeah, something like that. Because if you'll recall, we've talked about this before, because we really love Konosuba, but the only reason why they did like the first couple seasons of the anime, because there was a bit of a gap between 1 and 2, was because they were trying to drum up support for the original, the light novel. And maybe there was a manga adaptation too, but I think mostly it was just like, hey, we want to drive up publicity for this story that we really like. We'll do a little bit of an anime adaptation to get people in. And so we're only kind of interested in doing more, but obviously people came to it, and it's just so good. It's such a good story. Also, by the way, fun fact, while we were having this conversation, I literally went into Amazon and I ordered the next L5 art novella, which is the Scorpion one, Whispers of Shadow and Steel. That's okay. It's, it was actually cheaper than the last one. This one's the first one was like $18 I spent. This one is like 15, which is perfectly encapsulated, oddly enough, by the split of this month's like extra Patreon money because people signed up in the middle of the month.
Thank you.
Also, Lucky, by the way, I give you like your half of that, the other $15.
Sweet.
So yeah, you can buy yourself another nice light novel there.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, like, if people are concerned about, oh, are you're spending our Patreon money, like, that's not the bulk of what we do. Like, mostly I save it. Like, mostly I save it for either an immediate business expense or, like, a potential business expense. But, we're still human. We like to get ourselves nice stuff, and, we can turn this into content. Like, I'm sure that I'm gonna read this, and I'm gonna be like, wow, this was great. You're gonna hear me talk about it in our Discord, on the channel, or something. Like, most of the time when we spend money like this, we turn it around into content. Do we turn it around into necessarily the viewer's value of content? I don't know. But if you don't give us Patreon money, you're getting content for free, basically. So, it's funny how that works out.
Damn, I'm looking at a whole bunch of like Pocha Ida fucking art books. I'm all like, do they ship to the US? I really hope they ship to the US. I don't think they ship to the US. God damn it!
The curse of every anime fan. God, I remember when I was younger. You were talking about KH earlier, like the Kingdom Hearts final mixes. Remember when those were like exclusively Japanese?
Oh, the rage in the US was real.
And you're like that was back when region locking was still a thing. So it wasn't even like now where like theoretically if they released like on a PS4 or PS3 like a Japan only release, you could import it. That's still a pain in the butt, like because you'd probably have to get the physical disc and it would have to be shipped from Japan, or you'd have to buy from like a stateside importer. But like you can still pull it off.
Not even this. Like I can go on Amazon, like, and order the fucking Japanese.
You can literally go on Japanese Amazon and be like, "Hey, deliver it here."
Yeah, like I can go and get the fucking like, because I keep thinking about this. Like I should just get the Japanese Fate Extella so I can get me some fucking Fate Mahjong. I'm like, nah. But see, like that's like my only limitation is like, do I want it? Like, how much do I want it? Like, that is the only thing that keeps me. And I can just play it like hear like Moonspeak gibbered at me in the most adorable of voices, and just be okay with it.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. Because we were talking about VC4 a lot. You're playing it with the Japanese audio, right?
Yeah.
And you I assume have no complaints about that.
I think I mentioned this before. I'm in the unfortunate spot of I know enough Japanese to know when the translation is off. I just don't know enough Japanese that I can't do it without the translation.
Yeah, you can't freestyle it, but you can tell when there's a couple of like, you localize that different.
Yeah. As I said, like, everyone has their their kind of classic anime voices. I don't know if like actually like I don't think the English voices were bad. It's just like I just like Japanese voices. Like,
no, that's fair. Like there are some stuff. It's funny because we talked about like on Let's Talk FGO for reasons that Soul Calibur 6 came out. I always play Soul Calibur in Japanese ever since Soul Calibur 2 because that's how a friend of mine introduced me to the game. And even when I was a kid, I was like, wow, the English voices for this are really kind of corny. And just the Japanese were doing that typical Japanese, like, over-embellishment dramatic thing. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, wow, this is just better. And so I always, when I play Soul Calibur, play it in Japanese. That's just how I learned to follow the series, and I got used to people. There are certain animes that I started watching in Japanese, and I can't switch back. I'm used to these guys in this language. And then there's other stuff I played or watched in English, and I'm like, I'm too used to the English cast. I can't shift back to the Japanese cast. That'd be weird.
No, real talk? I fucking watched Outlaw Star as a kid. I watched it on Toonami. Listened into it English. Like, a month ago, I tried listening into it I tried watching it in Japanese. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it was weird, I bet.
Yeah, it really was, because I'm usually, like, a big fan of subs over dubs, and it was just like, no, it's like Outlaw Star, like, to me, was better dubbed. And, like, it's like one of those things, like, you go back to, like especially, like, old animes, like Trigun, Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, frickin' Fooly Cooly, like, I prefer all those in English. Like, they don't, like, man, I also think they actually have, like Full Metal Alchemist, that's another one.
Yeah, I mean, I at least by the time Brotherhood came out, I watched both in both languages, so I was okay with it. But when I own the Blu-rays for Brotherhood, when I go back and watch those, we're talking about support in the industry, when I go back and watch those, I usually default to English. Just because it's like, you get used to it. Even though they switched the voice actors for some of the roles between the two, because in the first FMA anime, the dub got an actual teenage boy to do Al, so he hit puberty by the time Brotherhood came out, which is always a pain in the butt. That was like how Kingdom Hearts was. Haley Joel Osment's voice dramatically shifted between 1 and 2.
I really, like, I wouldn't have mind, like, I really hope they have the Japanese voice option for Kingdom Hearts 3, because how Sora sounds now, I can't fucking stand it. I really can't.
It isn't Haley Joel Osment anymore, is it?
Like, I don't think so.
No, that's like, yeah, it's weird. The English dub for Kingdom Hearts was always a little weird, like,
but I was accepting of it, because, I was young. And...
Right. In the first one, they made a lot of questionable choices with, like, the Final Fantasy characters who'd never been voiced before.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them were really weird. By the time 2 came out, like, Advent Children, for instance, had come out for the FF7 movie, so there was, like, an official dub with that, with, like, real dub actors. So, like, they were a little bit better. But yeah, no, like, it's and obviously, for all the Disney characters, except the ones who were live action, they were done by professional voice actors in the first place. So long as they could actually hire those voice actors back, they could do a real good job. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, they got some little weird stuff.
Well, that's voice acting. Like, I've always been of the opinion that over in Japan, they take their voice acting a lot more seriously than they do here. But, like, just...
Yeah,
like,
I feel like in Japan, voice talents are definitely a little more... I don't want to say noble, but, like, there's a lot more structure built around voice talent and voice agencies. Often, if you get into voice acting, you can also get into singing, for instance, or some other stuff.
Oh, yeah. Do you know how many, like VAs, have music... Like, freaking...
Loads of them.
Like, oh, my God. Saya Miyamoto, fucking voice of Jean and others, she puts out singles. She's the one who sings the opening to both FGO seasons, to both the first one and the Lost Belt.
Yeah, that's just a normal thing. Also, I think in Japan it's a lot easier to transition out of voice acting to regular acting. I don't know for sure, but I've seen some stuff like that, and like it's not a big deal because people recognize your voice, so it's like, oh hey, you're that guy, and like they know your faces from publicity and stuff.
Like animation over there is a big thing, while over here we have to fight to get like anything animated into the fucking Oscars. I think I bitched about that last week.
You've bitched about it several times. We've bitched about it several times. The way the Academy Awards now, officially the Oscars are kind of a clusterfuck of like old Hollywood shit, and it's really annoying sometimes. Like, like they tried to get like a popular movie category, but at the same time, that was clearly like, oh, you're gonna do like what you do with animation, and you're gonna shove all the pop movies into a little box where they fight amongst each other, and you're not gonna consider films that are like wildly popular and you know changing the face of the industry to Best Picture because they aren't about Nazis or civil rights or something. Like whatever the usual dumb grabs are for like Oscar bait movies. Like, to say nothing against those movies that have won Best Picture some of those times and have been good, but you know an Oscar bait movie when you see it. It comes out towards the end of the year. It's always about some slightly controversial but touching subject. And you're like, you're baiting for that Oscar. And the studio knows that when they put it out. They build the marketing. They pick the release date to put it in that slot.
I honestly think this is why the Crunchyroll actually came out with their own goddamn anime awards.
Which is good. And whenever they do that next year, I guess, because they did one earlier this year, I think was the last one.
No, they did at the end of last year, because remember we were discussing it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when exactly it was, but yeah, it was sometime when we were doing Anime Power Hour, so was that a winter or spring Power Hour? I don't recall.
Yeah, because like
it's like towards the end / the beginning of the year. It's somewhere in that space. So when they do it again, we'll talk about it. I just don't know exactly when it'll be.
Anime Awards.
And we'll because there's another season of Boku no Hero, so we'll see if it wins everything again. Because we had a few complaints that they were like their voting was obviously loaded. I wonder if maybe the fact that they're breaking up their partnership with Funimation will maybe affect that.
Yeah. Well, real talk. Their partnership only really affects that they're going to be getting the dubbed versions. They should be still getting the sub versions of everything still.
Yeah, because that's I assume that's how the licensing works. Is they have the rights to the Japanese version with subs.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm trying to find it about here. Well, yeah, it was 2017, so yeah, so it's probably the end of 2018 we're gonna get the next one. It'll also be the time around the Video Game Awards, so we'll have probably be able to talk about that too.
Mm-hmm.
Something
we play where we won't win awards.
Like, I think I mentioned of how Geoff, what is his goddamn name? Geoff Keighley? I can't pronounce it. Dude who was like on the Game Trailers TV and G4 TV fucking fought tooth and nail to make the Video Games Award a respectable awards thing that is now like gone like how many years? Like almost 10 years now. It's like it'll get there from small steps or and all that crazy shit.
So this came up in our chat. We were talking about I'll go ahead since you finished your thought. Talking about like dubs and stuff on DBZ. Like I watched a little bit of Super in Japanese. That's a little weird.
Hearing King Kai talking that voice threw me off fucking hard.
He's a weird old man. Also, as much as I want to give Masako Nozawa huge props because she's in her 80s and she's belting out fucking Goku, DBZ yells. You know those yells. She's doing those fucking yells. Like
honestly, I'm okay
that's
with
crazy.
Goku. I think I'm okay with high pitched Goku. Like it honestly doesn't throw me off.
At the very least, it's a little weird to hear. Also, I think it's weird what they do is literally everybody in Goku's family sounds the same. Gohan's the same VA.
Yeah, they kind
Goten's the same VA, and I'm like, I I see what you're trying to do here, but I don't think this plays as well as you think it plays. Because it's just, it's weird. They all sound identical. And it's just, Nozawa doing, like, the same voice a couple different ways, slightly. But also DBZ is confusing for us in the modern world, because there's also Dragon Ball Z Abridged, which, quite frankly, for a bunch of guys, who started in their rooms on the internet, they do a really good dub job.
Yeah, they do.
So much so that they're an official dubbing company. They got a license to dub an anime, Hells, which I think is coming out early next month. But they officially planned and cast an anime dub. Like, I think it's a niche, like, smaller production, but still, like, that is how far they have come, that they are actual contenders in the industry of dubbing things. And they do a real good job. And as much as they say, hey, without the official release, we wouldn't be here, support the official release, and blah, blah, blah. Like, there are people who genuinely ask the question, are they the definitive DBZ dub now? Because they do a really good job. Their casting, it took them a couple of years at some point to get their casting on point, but their casting is usually on point. And
like,
they write their scripts real good.
Honestly, like, you can go to say, hey, go watch DBZ Abridged. You'll basically get the same effect, and it'll be a whole lot funnier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly.
I mean, they got me into DBZ because Dragon Ball Z wasn't a show I really paid attention to when I was younger. I watched a little bit here and there. Like, I remember at one point in my mid-teens, I think it was Toonami or somebody, did, like, DBZ Uncut. So, like, they ran it with less editing on the violence and with swearing still in. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I watched that because, like, to me, that was a more serious attempt to approach it. And that was okay, but that was short. That was, like, that only went up to, like, at least in the season they showed, I think it only went up to, like, the Saiyan Saga.
Nah.
So if they continued past that in that format, I didn't see it, like, advertised, and I didn't watch it. So I kind of, like, faded in and out. But, like, as an adult, or late teens in there somewhere, they've been doing this, like, 10 years, so maybe late teens and then early college is the point where I really started paying attention to them. But, like, they got me into Dragon Ball Z because I was like, wow, the way these guys tell this story and they play on the tropes is like, I want to see the original of this, and I want to see where they're coming from so I can get the jokes better. So I watched DBZ Kai, like, for the first time after watching their stuff, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is, like, I can see the points where obviously filler was cut out, and in Kai, at least, when they've reanimated frames that were, like, shitty in the first run, you can tell. You're like, okay, so clearly somebody redrew this cell of animation. And this was, like, in the past, 10 minutes as opposed to the last 10 years. I can tell, trust me. But yeah, no, like, it was a decent on-point dub. It didn't really do, like, lots of, I mean, everybody who's about our age should remember the 4Kids era.
Oh my god.
And the really bad child-friendly dubs of some shows.
Are they still around?
I don't know.
No, they went defunct in 2017.
Yeah. Wow, recently. We finally got them, guys. We finally got 4Kids.
Yeah!
Hooray. But yeah, no, like, when you're in your early teenish area, that's when you realize, wow, this is really dumbed down, isn't it? Like, as much as some of those were serious, because I was about, like, I think it was on 4Kids or Fox or something that I watched, like, the third Digimon anime, Digimon Tamers, where it's like, wow, this is really creepy and deep, even if these kids can't swear. This is, like, weird. Yu-Gi-Oh! Also was really metal at the time. I still think the original Japanese is more metal, but making everything into the Shadow Realm, at least they tried. Like, they tried to keep the stakes high, and as a kid, it worked. At the same time, as an adult, oh no, the spinning saw blade will cut your soul and send you to the Shadow Realm. I'm like, yeah, whatever. You always say that. The spinning saw blade is a literal saw blade. It'll cut your legs off, and you'll die of blood unless you're like, oh my. That's, as an adult, you're like, well, that's real serious.
Yep.
Or like the friggin', we're gonna blow up the roof and you're gonna plummet 10 stories to the bottom of the shopping mall and die. And the fuckers had parachutes.
People didn't get it, but Yami was kind of fucking evil.
Oh yeah, no, like the Mind Crush was real bad.
Yeah.
That was a way more in the manga though than the anime. They skipped some of the early seasons. Like the earliest chapters of the manga before the author focused much more entirely on the concept of dual monsters as a game. Was a lot of time for Yami Yugi to like round out his personality. But it never gets all quite the way there. But yeah, no,
Actually, if I remember correctly, there's a point where he almost does, and people are like, "No, stop!" And he's like,
Well, there's an anime only arc where he does some serious shit as revenge. Everybody should remember, maybe from like the big Twitch scene, everybody brought it up, but the draw monster card, because it's a special effect where every time he draws, if he draws a monster card, he gets to attack directly.
Oh yeah,
he does it for like 20 times in a row, long after the guy's already lost, and he just keeps draw monster card, blam, and like no, like the stakes are high, and the show, and it really works. God, it makes me almost want to watch it again. I've watched some of it in Japanese, not all the way through, but like yeah, that's a major childhood touchstone. But like I said, like DBZA got me to try out DBZ Kai, which was really good. And like the way they handled that, and like condensing the story out of the anime filler. And it was a modern dub, so it was pretty good. And then they made them as in the property owners made Dragon Ball Super, which was kind of eh. Like parts of it are good concepts, but wow, that I feel like at some points that anime did not really think about what it was doing.
No,
it just wanted to do some cool stuff. Sometimes it's like, okay, but why? Why though? How'd that work? How'd that do?
Shrug.
I know. Trunks just made his sword glow like a spirit bomb for some reason.
Why not?
I know, it was cool, and like, alright, so thematically that's cool, but internal logic, that don't make any damn sense. And sometimes I think...
I'm 13! I don't know.
I mean, there are some aspects of Japanese storytelling, we've talked about before, like, to them suddenly raising your level of power or ability at the last minute, like that's considered a virtue in Japanese society, to like stick through with your goals and to like persevere and summon up inner reserves of power. Which
Fills
in the
you
West
with
we have a more critical eye, so we're like, okay, but where did that come from? Like we're taught to appreciate stories in a slightly different way.
I really think I prefer the Japanese way of storytelling.
I mean, some of their stories are good, but then there are sometimes when I think they use the fact that they have a stylistic advantage to just try and get away with shit that they shouldn't. And okay, so Dragon Ball Super is probably still aimed at like 12-year-old boys in Japan, but
honestly, I haven't finished Dragon Ball Super because it started doing the same stuff that it did before, where it's all like, this fight's taking a real goddamn long time.
Yeah, no, like I said, I didn't watch it all the way either. I watched parts of it that people said were good, and I cherry picked.
The whole Trunks arc was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah, that was a good callback, and you might say he's weird, but the whole Zama's Goku Black thing, that was actually interesting world building.
Yeah.
And to just straight up make a Goku villain.
People saw that shit and they were like, fuck!
Yeah. But yeah, though I'm reminded that the dub did not edit a line. Which...
What?
So in the sub, they say something like, Trunks says, like, we're using the English, like, Braku. He's like, no, this isn't Goku, this isn't Black. This isn't Black Goku. And I like... The dub is unaired. Trunks just straight up says, no, it's okay. This guy's not black. I'm like, whoops. That's a lot more funny than I think you meant it to be. You said that with a straight face. I wonder if he had trouble saying that line in the booth.
I want to imagine if, like, I want to hope the voice actor's like, is it okay to say this? And I bet the director's like, no, it's fine. And guy's like, are you sure?
This seems suspicious. No, no, we translated it. That matches the flaps. It's literal. Go for it. And he's like, okay. Which, by the way, it's a I don't know if we've ever discussed that, the lip flaps concept, but that's something that, like, if you see a dub that or a translation that's slightly different from like the Japanese one, that's usually because they have to fit the mouth flaps, because they don't have the time or the budget to do precise editing and sync up the animation. So
sometimes they do.
Sometimes they do, but usually they don't, which means that they have to fit the exact timing of the scene. That's why I think a lot of anime dubs in English, especially early one, have like stilted line reads or some weird ones, because they have to like, sometimes they have to compress a certain amount of like factual and like emotional weight into short flaps.
Oh man, do you remember like don't you remember like translated things like even before that when they didn't even give a fuck about that?
Oh yeah, no, it's like there are some stuff where they don't even bother with syncing to the lip flaps. Even now, like some video games have that problem, and just like, no, they don't. They like it's like watching a fucking martial arts movie dub.
Like some people might get like give shit like on like CG for fucking generic mouth movements, but people you guys might not think about it. There are a lot of fucking muscles in your face to make it move in certain ways, so when you speak, you make certain sounds. It's hard to recreate that in technology, and it's hard to make what's the word I'm thinking of? Dub over that at the same time, I guess. It's like the mouth is a complex fucking thing, and so is talking. It's just one of those things that everyone takes for granted because you do it like you've been doing it for so long.
Yeah. I leaned down in my chair, so I was really quiet when I said yeah.
Yeah. Oh god, man, that's something I think about a lot as because I am a particularly morbid person. I like to think about my death a lot, and like what it is to be
samurai human. Of you. By the way, in the game of 20 questions in Legend of the Five Rings, question 20 is how should your character die?
Oh, cool.
Because that's how samurai work. A samurai is always 3 feet from death. That's the average length of a katana.
Mm-hmm. But like, I always think about my death and things of like what will happen after I die and like all that stuff. And then I usually like flip it around and it's like, what is it like to be alive? And I consider things of like the ability to see, the ability to hear, the ability to think. Like I get like those are the things that like keep me going on like work nights of just like, oh my god, I can fucking touch shit. It has a feeling.
Yeah, and actually having done some just like, because I do like sci-fi stuff, and I've done some writing, and I've done some homebrewing and stuff like, and even for other stuff like just writing wise, thinking about your senses, that's really weird sometimes. Touch is a really complex sense. Like, yeah, calling it touch is kind of a misnomer because there's a couple of different types of nerves in your body. So like there's a certain amount of haptic feedback to be like, okay, like you're sensitive to temperature of things. That's a completely different type of sensation than like a textual one, like discovering the texture of stuff. And then there's like sensing the weight and balance of an object versus your body. Mm-hmm. Your ability to sense the own location of your limbs, which is completely different to your ability to sense like the temperature and motion of air and stuff. And we've talked about that before, how like you can pull off some weird stuff, like just, close your eyes and touch your nose. You can do it because your body has an innate sense of where your hand is, where your nose is, and so even without sight, you can find parts of your body. Like without looking, I can touch my hand to my heel.
Like people you go around like doing just regular stuff, and like it's it's something that's day to day to you, but like as inefficient and sometimes stupid the human body is, it is still a very, very, very complex machine doing a lot of shit at once. Like walking. Like I'm pretty sure all y'all
okay, so many animals are born pre-learned to walk. Humans aren't. We have to learn to walk. That's a whole thing. Yeah. In our lives, we have to learn to walk. And it's not as easy as you'd think because it takes us a little while.
Yeah, it's like you literally have to coordinate a bunch of muscles, bones, and tendons together, like perfect a sense of balance. It's a lot of stuff. Although I'm still of the opinion that the current standard for walking is actually hurting humans in the long run, because humans are taught to walk heel first and not the ball of your ball first. Bleh. Oh, sorry, I was rolling around there. Basically, the way humans walk is when you walk, you basically hit the ground with your heel first, but that basically sends a shock up to your knee, which will like slowly damage it. And like if you like mimic the way animals walk, because you know animals like they have those weird ass looking limbs. No, trust me, human limbs just look the same way. Literally, all you have to do is stand on the fucking balls of your feet, and you're mimicking them perfectly. It's fucking weird. But for some odd reason, we're taught to walk on our heels instead of the ball. I don't know where that started. I should look into that. But again, that's one of those
probably
things,
some
like,
formal thing. Like here's a pro tip: if anybody ever told you sit up straight, don't actually sit up straight. That's bad for your spine.
Yeah, it is.
They covered this in my college health class. The natural shape of your spine is a very gentle S curve. It should not be perfectly straight. It's designed to rest with a little bit of curvature.
Like, guys, like, also, yeah, that shit, like, puts, like, there's a lot of things that we do that, like, put, like, a lot of unnecessary tension on our body. Like, if you're listening to this now, I want you to relax your mouth, let your shoulders drop, and slouch a little, alright? Just relax. Because that's one of those things that people do. They'll clench their teeth, they'll hold their shoulders up, stand up straight, for no other reason than, like, that's just been kind of instilled to have proper posture. It's like, no, just relax. You're good. Take a deep breath.
Yeah. Like, we as humans have developed a lot of social constructs about posture, some of which make sense, like, okay, so we just told you to relax, and you should relax. Right now, hopefully you're listening to us talk somewhere nice, relaxed. Maybe you're laying down, maybe you're sitting in your chair, you're doing something else. You're relaxing with us as I gently get closer and closer to the microphone. Anyway,
I'm about to slap you if I could. Stop.
But if you're in like a meeting situation, like you're in a what we call a formal situation, maybe you don't want to appear like super relaxed. Like you want to, you want to do some of the things we do for short periods. We talk about like maybe you do want to sit up a little straight to make sure you're properly representing your stature and you look like you're at attention, because you're in a situation where your body language should reflect that you're focused and paying attention. The problem is our society at certain points, our society have gotten too concerned about those appearances, and we forgot to we focused so hard on programming people to have what we deemed the appropriate body language. We forgot to deprogram people, because body language is one of those weird aspects, right? Like, I don't think we have consciously cracked a lot of kinesics. A lot of, like, following those exact body language, because if you know what you're doing with body language, you can send a lot of subtle messages to people. That's why it comes up a lot in sci-fi, is, like, this idea that we're going to figure out a lot of gestures and subtle stuff, but there is, like, if you touch somebody, like, where you put your hand, like, touching somebody's face versus their shoulder versus, like, hand on the back, a hand on the hip, a hand a little lower than the hip, like, you're sending all different messages with all fundamentally the same action, like, this is my hand, I'm going to physically touch you. Different cultures have different things about, like, pointing. Like, gestures are very, very important, and people don't think about them a lot. So it's, on the one hand, it's good that we built, like, this social structure to be like, no, like, you should adopt a certain posture in certain situations to reflect the right message. We've forgotten to tell people to be like, hey, yo, you can relax and be yourself if there's nobody around. Like, that's...
Calm down.
That's a thing that we talked about taking mental health breaks earlier. That's a thing that I think is very conscious in the last couple of decades about our culture, as like our hip millennial culture has gotten older. We've hit the point where we can talk to each other enough, and we can be self-aware enough to go like, hey, do you actually need to sit up straight? No, it's bad for your spine. Oh, ooh. Because we can like share information. Like all these questions, you question stuff you learned as a kid, like, does it actually matter if you floss? And they're like, I remember hearing reports recently that, like, health-wise, it maybe doesn't impact as much, but you should still probably floss. This is me, as Omega, telling you. You should probably still floss just for, like, personal cleanliness and comfort. It just may not be as vital to your teeth health as you thought it was. there's lots of stuff like that I think have come up in the past couple of years to, like, think about, like, how we do things and should we do things that way all the time. And you should be. Always, like I've said this before, we've said this, like, talking about people's opinions and stuff. Always ask yourself why you think something. Not, like, in, like, a doubting way. Like, don't, because most people should know that, like, no, you can have, like, if you have a feeling about something, you can have a valid opinion. We just talked about Lucky's gut feelings earlier. Like, if you have a response to something, you have a thought about something, there's a reason for that. But also, like, honestly, after that step, figure out why you thought that. Because, like, or why you think that. Because, like, that's very important to your development. Sorry, Lucky, I keep cutting you off. Go ahead.
That's fine. I was stumbling over my words a bit anyway. See, when I say gut feeling, like, I call it a gut feeling, but it's not supernatural. My gut feeling is literally my brain running through all, like, a bunch of fucking calculations and whatnot, and basically making a prediction based upon that, upon all the past experiences I have had. So, like, for example, let's say I meet a person and I just get to say, I don't like this person. Because that's my gut feeling telling me that, like, with their gestures, with their history, with how they talk, with all those things, they bear a striking similarity to other people who like, that I have gotten this, like, have had done negative things, or I've had negative encounters with. This is my body saying, it's all like, we have some information on that you should probably think about.
Right, we've talked about this before. When you're subconscious, like, when you meet a person, you're like, oh, I like this person, or oh, I don't like this person. There is probably a very important reason that your subconscious immediately pinged to something about them you liked or didn't like. Yeah. And if I always say, you should think about why your subconscious said that, because sometimes that can reveal biases that you have that, like, don't actually have a logical or factual basis. But the fact that you had that feeling is still valid. You had that feeling for a reason. And sometimes we as humans have gotten away from, like, we're all about the science and the logic and your subconscious calculation. That's meaningless. That doesn't mean anything. Where did that come from? It came from the fact that your brain knows a lot more than you do some of the time. This isn't, like, definitively proven, but it's been theorized that you still remember everything you've ever experienced. It's just that your brain has basically filtered it all out, so you're not constantly overloaded by the information. Well, here's an important thing to know when we talk about memory. You have loads of different types of memory. Oh, like, yeah. What we usually call muscle memory is I don't remember the technical term, but there's a type of, like, motor, I think it's maybe motor learning memory. Like, your brain and your body remembers how to do certain rote physical actions. If you practice brushing your teeth a lot, you put a toothbrush in your hand, you've done it so much your brain remembers what the proper form is without you needing to think about it. Walking is like that. Martial arts are like that. If you practice them long enough, your body just remembers the appropriate response to this situation is this movement, and you can do it without consciously thinking about it at all. Sense memories are very powerful, but very stimulus tied. That's why, like, certain smells, sounds, and stuff have very strong feelings to us, because sense memories are very strongly formed, but they need that stimulus. You usually can't call up a sense memory without the right type of sense, right? Yep. Factual recall, there's a specific term for that too, but that's another type of memory. Some people have it very strong, some don't. I, for instance, have a very strong fact-based memory. You give me the right prompt, I remember lots of little facts in an informatic format. I remember almost like reading something off a page, right? Like, I remember the discrete unit of information. I can't tell you how I learned it, where I learned it, what I was doing when I learned it, but I remember I read this somewhere, or somebody told me this, or I observed this. It comes back to me. Something that I think... Go ahead. Go ahead, Lucky.
I was going to say, on the other hand, I'm the complete opposite. I actually have a very weak-based memory. But I still, whatever I have read, I still retain. It's just something more of a subconscious. It's like, as someone asks me something, like, if someone asks me, like, oh, what would this person have done? I may not be able to tell them exactly, but I can give them a good guess based on what I know of, like, around the time and area, like, residual shit.
Yeah, there's lots of that. Another important type of memory is flashbulb memory. This is what your memory does in important moments or more often traumatic moments. It's you create a perfect, like, 360 degrees recall. Your brain will earmark a specific memory, and it'll be like, this is what you were doing. This is when it was. This is what the light was like. It was hot. It was cold. Like, you form perfect recollections of these events. Something that I think
happens a lot with traumas.
Yeah, a fair amount of our audience will probably have a flashbulb memory of 9/11. Like,
Yep.
I can tell you exactly what I was doing when that happened. I was in the kitchen, because I was homeschooled in this period, so I was in the kitchen. I was doing schoolwork. It was on the news. It suddenly came up on the news. My mother was like, something's happening. I saw it happen on TV, and I will probably always remember that moment. I remember it exactly. I remember exactly what the kitchen was like. I can see it on the exact TV that it was on, that I saw it on. Like, it's way more detailed than any of my other recollections, because, like, lots of day-to-day stuff just completely... Maybe we shouldn't say completely, because we've talked about how, like, you don't always really forget information, but, like, the details elude me because my brain doesn't need to remember them. So, like, do you want me to tell you exactly what I ate when I ate it for, like, the past week? Don't remember. The specifics I don't remember. I could probably guess based on my past behavior what I probably ate about when I ate it, but I couldn't tell you the specifics because the specifics didn't matter to me at the time. But can I tell you for sure? Oh, I mean, I definitely ate last week. I'm pretty sure I know that. Because if I didn't eat, I'd be able to remember it. There you go. We got serious at the end there.
Yeah, we did.
We're at about 2.5 hours. Do you wanna go ahead and wind down for the night so you can go to bed, buddy?
Yeah, it's almost 4.
Yeah, you need to get some sleep. I'm also thinking I need to get some dinner.
Also, my tablet is running out of battery.
Solid choice. That's the point when you need to stop. It's time to stop. All right, so we'll let you guys go. We hope you had a fun episode. We talked about serious stuff. We talked about business stuff. We talked about lots of fun stuff, like VC4 for a long time.
Oh my god, Slab, you drew Jack. I am kind of disappointed.
So yeah, we'll work on some stuff. We'll keep at you. If you guys are interested in, like I said, because I talked about it on the Discord, if you're interested in like spooky story time with Omega, be sure to let me know, because I'll probably try and get those out. Hopefully, if Lucky does have a little bit more of that free time he wants this week, we will try and do that pilot of Lucky Rants just to get it out there. Because we remember our commitments. We have to figure out how and when to do them. And yeah. So, we'll see you guys in the next What's Up. We're going to record Let's Talk FGO. Not to bash editor Lucky, but you'll probably see it a little bit sooner. But that will also be because we're probably going to, like we said, we're going to lowball it a little. Give ourselves some time. And with our recent complications, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I will try and watch some anime next week so we can maybe talk about some stuff in more detail, like back and forth with us.
Yeah.
There's a bong. That was me hitting the mic arm as I reach for my mouse. All right, so if you like this video, give it a like. It's very important to show that off and keep us in algorithms and stuff. If you have any comments, those are important too. Please leave those in the comment section down below. We love comments. If you ask us questions, we will respond to comments. And just in general, it's always good to hear what you guys think about stuff. And of course, if you are new here and you've not already, please subscribe. And even if you already subscribed, don't forget to hit that bell for notifications so you always know when we post a video, because otherwise you really don't. You have no idea what we're going to do. We are unpredictable. We defy all memories and all subconscious you may have. Especially Lucky. He defies all expectations constantly. And like I said at the front of the show, and a little after the front of the show, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can access episodes early in audio format, right away, for as little as $1 a month. And like we said, we appreciate your support in any form, so don't feel bad if you're like, I like you guys and I want to give you a little money, but I can only give you $1 or whatever. Just the fact that you want to support us is cool. And even if you want to support us by just, like we said earlier, liking and sharing our stuff, that's cool too. We love you all. Some of you maybe more than others, but we definitely love and appreciate all our audience, because you're there for us. You listen to us. And that's what's up this week, guys.
And everyone, a few words of wisdom. remember, you won't know how far you've gone in the journey until you stop, take a moment, and look back upon how far you come.